Chapter 552. Hearing Su Yun's words, the seriousness on Lung Shuatian's face relaxed a little. He heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Master, feel free to speak. As long as I can satisfy it, I will definitely satisfy Master. All right then. Su Yun nodded his head. Since that's the case, then I won't be polite. To tell you the truth, I am not lacking in money right now, and I have a lot of magic treasure S, but I am lacking in profound skill S. If you can give me a high-grade profound skill S, then this matter will be over, and I will not pursue your son's mistakes. You want my father's profound skill? Don't even think about it. Who do you think you are? My father's profound skill S are all heavenly items. Even I did not pass them down to you. How can I pass them down to you? Hearing that, young Master Lung Xing immediately shouted. But just then, Lung Shuatian flipped his body and slapped young Master Lung Xing's face. Pow! A clear sound echoed in the broken tunnel. Young Master Yu Guan and the rest who were behind were dumbstruck. Su Yun was also startled. He did not expect Lung Shuatian to suddenly do this. Lung Shuatian growled, "Shut up, bastard. If you speak again, I will break your body on the spot." Young Master Lung Xing covered his face and looked at Lung Shuatian in shock. He probably did not expect his father to slap him in front of everyone, and was speechless for a long time. Was this really his father? Wasn't this a little too much? He wondered what Lung Xing had done in the past to make Lung Shuatian so angry. But it had nothing to do with him. Su Yun exhaled slightly. Master, do you want a high-grade profound skill? These are all not a problem, but I don't have any dungeons on me that I can pass to you, so I can only teach you some chants. Lung Shuatian turned his head and said to Su Yun, "Oh, that's all right." Su Yun waved his hand. "That's good. Then, Master, what profound skill do you want to learn?" This old man has learned a lot in his life, and there are a total of 13 profound skill that he is proud of. They're the blood-soaring heaven sword that focuses on killing, the 9 jade palm that can be used to attack and defend, and no need. I won't learn any of these. Su Yun waved his hands, directly interrupting Lung Shuatian's words, and said, "I am only interested in the profound skill that read your memories just now. If it is convenient for Alliance Leader Lung, can you teach me this profound skill?" Oh, Lung Shuatian was startled. Who would have thought that Su Yun would actually have his eyes on his special absolute art? When Lung Xing heard Su Yun's request, he immediately became anxious. Just as he was about to say something, Lung Shuatian glanced at him from the corner of his eyes, causing him to tremble in fear, not daring to make a sound. "Master, are you sure you want to learn this profound skill?" Lung Shuatian asked again. "Is it troublesome?" Su Yun asked. "It's not troublesome. You just need to follow the incantation and practice. In time, you will be able to master it." Lung Shuatian shook his head. "That's good. I'll take it then." Su Yun laughed. Lung Shuatian nodded his head. Without wasting any time, he grabbed towards the ground, and a stone immediately flew into his hand. He activated the profound strength, and the stone was immediately wrapped in a green light. In a moment, the stone actually grew leaves and branches, and was quickly covered by vegetation. Lung Shuatian released his profound strength, and the vegetation was quickly cut into a new piece of wood the size of a palm. He extended his finger, activated the profound qi, and started drawing on the new wood. Lung Shuatian's qi only gave Su Yun 2 words: exquisite, vigorous. This qi was probably in extremely high existence in the Sky Spirit Master realm. If you were to fight with this person, it would be hard to predict who would win or lose. Young Master Lung Xing looked at the new piece of wood dryly, his eyes filled with desire. Very quickly, Lung Shuatian completed the new wood, and then handed it over to Su Yun, and said, "This profound skill is called Consonance Technique. Its use is very simple. It is to read other people's memories. This is a consummate skill that I learned from the Consonance sect. Although it is not considered a shocking profound skill, it is still very practical. But there's a limit to reading memories. Only when the opponent's mental strength is extremely weak, or when the opponent's mental strength allows it. Can I use this profound skill, for example? When I used it on Quanner just now, Quanner allowed it. If Quanner does not allow it, I cannot forcefully read it. And if I forcefully read it, there will only be one outcome. Su Yun, who was still looking at the new wood, was startled. What happens? Either his brain is destroyed, or my brain is destroyed. Brain destroyed? Yes. If the opponent's mental strength is stronger than his own, then the one whose brain is destroyed will be himself. Hearing that, Su Yun nodded his head seriously. Although this profound skill was not bad, if it was not used properly, it would harm himself. So that's how it is. Thank you for the reminder. Su Yun cupped his fist towards Lung Xuetian. Although this mystical skill is special, it is not considered a powerful mystical skill. Moreover, using this mystical skill is also a great test of one's mental strength. I hope that my lord can use it cautiously. Those with great talent might be able to master it within a few years. Su Yun nodded and kept the new wood seriously. Seeing that Su Yun kept the new wood, Ling Xuetian cupped his fists again and said, "Then, master, this old man will bring my dog back to discipline him. Farewell." Su Yun cupped his fists. Farewell. With that, Ling Xuetian grabbed the young master Lung Xing beside him and rushed out of the tunnel. His speed was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, he had disappeared. Seeing that Lung Xuetian had left, Su Yun finally calmed down. He did not expect that meeting this young master Lung Xing would be a blessing in disguise, obtaining a godly skill like the Lingxi art. Although it was not a terrifying killing magic treasure, it was a rather practical skill. With this profound skill, it would be much easier to deal with others in the future. Su Yun took out the new wood again and looked at it, then walked forward happily, preparing to leave. However, just as he took a few steps, a strange movement suddenly came from behind him. Su Yun turned his head. Only then did he remember that there was a group of people behind him. "I almost forgot about you guys." Su Yun laughed. He looked at young Master Yuguan and the rest, his eyes sweeping across their faces, and asked, "Do you guys still plan to snatch the desolate devil's heart from my hands?" With that said, no one dared to make a sound. The tall and skinny man quietly looked at young Master Yuguan, then looked at Su Yun, and did not dare to make another sound. Young Master Yuguan held onto the weapon in his hand tightly, stared at Su Yun sternly, and said, "We have eyes but failed to see, to actually offend a supreme expert like you. With the methods you have displayed before, it should be very easy for you to kill us. But even so, we will not accept our fate. If you want to settle the debt from before, then come. We will do our best to retaliate. You can imitate that Lung Xuetian and give me some benefits to appease my anger." Su Yun laughed. Unexpectedly, young Master Yu Guan snorted coldly and said, "Forget about us not having any treasures. Even if we did, we wouldn't give them to you." "Oh." Su Yun was startled. He did not expect this person to have some backbone. "Big brother, I let you sneak attack us earlier, but you hesitated. Now that we're in this situation, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for us to escape." The tall and skinny man could not help but complain. "You all know my character. Although I'm not a gentleman, I really can't do such a thing. If it wasn't for Little Wei and the others, I wouldn't have robbed this person. Anyway, it's too late to say anything now. Everyone get ready. I'll try my best to delay this person. You guys think of a way to escape, one by one." Young Master Yu Guan said, "Oh, you're really righteous. But do you think that any of you can escape under my eyes?" Su Yun smiled and waved his hand. Boom! The walls of the tunnel shattered, and huge heads stretched out from the broken parts. They were all terrifying skulls. These skulls had blood-red eyes and were incomparably huge. They were filled with baleful aura and devil chi, and there were 7 of them in all directions. They were extremely terrifying. The appearance of these giant skulls gave young Master Yu Guan and the others endless pressure. All of their faces turned pale, and some of their bodies even started to tremble. Only young Master Yu Guan did not say anything, but his face became even more serious. There was no fear in his eyes, only the determination to fight to the death. He really couldn't be scared. Seeing that, Su Yun laughed bitterly and shook his head, then asked, "What's your name? Why are you asking this?" Young Master Yu Guan frowned. "I don't kill nameless people." Hearing that, he did not hesitate and said in a clear voice, "Li Su Qing, modest and upright. Good name, I'll remember it." Su Yun nodded, then raised his hand and snapped his fingers. In an instant, the giants in all directions all turned into pitch-black devil chi and dissipated. The tunnel instantly returned to silence. Seeing that, young Master Yuguan was stunned. "My name is Su Yun," he said seriously. Young Master Yuguan looked at him. "All right, you guys can go." Su Yun laughed. "You want to let us go?" Young Master Yuguan was startled. "You're not a bad person. Furthermore, there's no deep hatred between us, so why should I kill you? I'm not bloodthirsty." Su Yun turned and walked out. "If you guys have the time to snatch my heart, why don't you continue to look for Desolate Devil and find my heart? Su Qing, we'll meet again in the future." While speaking, Su Yun had already left the tunnel entrance. His voice calmed down, and his figure gradually disappeared, quickly disappearing without a trace. Li Su Qing and the rest all stood in place in a daze, watching Su Yun leave. Only after long while did someone regain their senses. "Big brother, he's letting us go just like that?" The tall and skinny man said in a daze. "Yeah." Li Su Qing took a deep breath and nodded. "It should be easy for him to kill us. Not everyone likes to kill people." Li Su Qing slowly closed his eyes, the terrifying giant reverberating in his mind, the densely packed sharp swords that filled the sky. For some reason, a brand was born in his heart. "I hope I'll have the chance to meet him in the future." Li Su Qing muttered. "Big brother, where are we going next? We can't let Little Wei and the others die in vain. Let's continue to look for Desolate Devil." All right. Chapter 553. After obtaining the Desolate Devil's heart, Su Yun immediately rushed out of the Desolate Devil battlefield without stopping. Although he had obtained the Lingxi art, it was not the time to learn. He urgently wanted to head to the Wanhua realm, urgently wanted to rush to the Linglong mountain and find traces of his parents. If he delayed for too long and his parents went somewhere else, wouldn't that be a wasted trip? As Su Yun thought about it, he quickened his pace. Very quickly, he left the desolate desert battlefield. At this moment, there was a sea of people outside the battlefield. It seemed that during the period of time he had been in the desolate desert battlefield, a lot of spirit cultivator had come. Su Yun quickly walked to the array in front of the ancient temple and found an empty array. He then took out the Desolate Devil's heart, and according to Heiyu's method, he crushed the heart and poured the blood and flesh onto the array origin in the center of the array. When the array origin was touched by the Desolate Devil's flesh and blood, it immediately released a bright light. The dazzling light shone in all directions. It was extremely dazzling. Seeing that, the spirit cultivator from all four directions all looked at Su Yun. "Look, this person actually obtained the Desolate Devil's heart. I searched for 3 days and 3 nights in the Desolate Devil battlefield, but I didn't see a single Desolate Devil. I only saw a bunch of spirit cultivator and I don't know where this person found the Desolate Devil. Could it be the Desolate Devil general that was killed? I have met 2 desert generals, but they are too powerful, and I do not dare to fight them. If I do not have the help of other cultivators, fighting them alone will only result in death. But this guy is alone. There doesn't seem to be anyone else by his side. Could it be that this Desolate Devil's heart was obtained by him alone?" Everyone was discussing, and all sorts of guesses could be heard. From time to time, exclamations of admiration, envy, and jealousy could be heard from the crowd. While Su Yun was urging the array, many spirit cultivators walked over quickly. "Hello, fellow cultivator. May I ask if you're selling this array?" A person stepped forward and said, "Sell?" Su Yun was startled and immediately understood. This formation was activated by him crushing the Desolate Devil's heart and using his blood, which also meant that the fragments of the Desolate Devil's heart were tainted with his own chi, and the formation would automatically record his chi. Other than himself, no one else would be able to enter, but if he did not enter, after waiting for a while, when the chi above disappeared, others would be able to enter, but the formation would only be passed to one person at a time. The almighty beings had set up rules here, so no one dared to cause trouble. Thus, these powerful financial groups could only use money to deal with it. "Fellow cultivator, I will use 1 million profound coin to buy your qualifications to enter the ultimate martial sacred plane. What do you think? 1 million? You want to buy this qualification with a mere 1 million? Do you think this cultivator is an idiot? Fellow cultivator, I bid 3 million. 3 million? I say, you poor bastards, if you don't have money, then don't even think about entering the ultimate martial sacred plane in case your poverty spreads to the respected supreme expert over there. Fellow cultivator, I'll pay 10 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. The more they shouted, the higher the price became. Following their shouts, some of the spirit cultivators outside were attracted over. Su Yin was just activating an array formation, but it was forcefully turned into an auction by these people. Seeing the people around him shouting crazily, Su Yin could not help but shake his head. Did King say I sold it? Su Yin did not even look at the people who were arguing until their faces were red and ears were red. Seeing that the array formation in front of him had already been activated, he directly walked in and activated it. Chirp! In that moment, Su Yin turned into a ray of white light and flew into the sky, disappearing without a trace. The teleportation circle also stopped abruptly after Su Yin left and returned to its static state. Seeing that Su Yin had already left, the surrounding people were all startled for a moment. Then with a roar, they all dispersed. Whoosh! Not long after Su Yin stepped into the teleportation circle, a strange sound came out from beside his ears. Following that, he fiercely fell to the ground. His mind was in a mess, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. His entire body was filled with the aura of teleportation, and took a long time for it to dissipate. He sat down cross-legged and immediately meditated to recover his spirit. After about the time it took for an incense stick to burn, he finally recovered and opened his eyes to look around. The surrounding immortal chi was faintly discernible, and the surrounding scenery seemed to be covered with a layer of veil. It was extremely hazy. At this moment, he was sitting on a lush green grassland. In the distance was a dense forest, and under the influence of the light fog, the forest was faintly discernible. This is the ultimate martial sacred plane? Su Yin stood up and walked around. Other than the fog being a little big, there doesn't seem to be anything special about it. However, those fellows outside had sharpened their heads and wanted to drill in here, so there would definitely be something that would surprise him. Su Yin thought, and then walked forward. What he needed to do now was to find the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm. He did not dare to use his sword. After all, this was a place where experts gathered and supreme experts came out in large numbers. If he could keep a low profile, he would keep a low profile, and with his strength, if placed in the ultimate martial sacred plane, he would not even be able to make it onto the stage. The surroundings were extremely quiet. There was a hill in the distance that was covered in green grass, and it was extremely beautiful. The sky was azure blue, and the trees swayed gently with the cool breeze. There were no living creatures or ferocious beasts nearby, and it was like a paradise. Welcome to the ultimate martial sacred plane, young and unfamiliar brat. Just as Su Yin was walking and looking around, an old voice suddenly came out from beside him. Hearing that, Su Yin's heart tightened. He subconsciously retreated and looked towards the source of the voice, only to see that there was only a thick tree. There was no one around. Su Yin sized up the tree and asked suspiciously, "Who's talking?" "Of course it's me." The voice came out again. The source was this tree. The trunk of the tree gradually cracked open, and in a short while, it formed a clear and aged human face. "Don't young people know about spirits? I am the 10,000-year-old tree spirit here. You don't have to be afraid. I have no enmity towards you." The tree spirit seemed to have sensed Su Yin's vigilance and spoke. Seeing that the other party did not seem to have any hostility, Su Yin retracted his hostility and looked at the tree again, unable to hide the surprise in his eyes. 10,000-year-old tree spirit? Could it be that you have 10,000 years of cultivation? That's right. Is that very strange? Of course, Su Yin said without hesitation. It was already incredible for a spirit cultivator to be able to cultivate for thousands of years, especially for the people of the ultimate martial world. Relying on the unique cultivation conditions of the ultimate martial world, if they were to cultivate for 1,000 years, coupled with the cultivation coins, their cultivation would probably reach the point of perfection. If they were to cultivate for 10,000 years, they would definitely reach the peak and become a supreme expert. But he never thought that in the ultimate martial sacred plane, even the trees would become spirits, and they would even be existences that had cultivated for 10,000 years. How could he not be surprised? Who would have thought that at this moment, the tree spirit would start laughing? Young people are young people after all. They have never seen much of the world. This is your first time coming to the ultimate martial sacred plane. You definitely do not know that many things here have actually become spirits. The tree spirit let out waves of old laughter and continued. Look at that rock over there, that luck flower over there, and that circling bird. They have all become spirits. And that rock's cultivation is higher than mine by a whole 20,000 years. It already has 30,000 years of cultivation. As long as it cultivates for another 20,000 years, with the support of 50,000 years of cultivation, it will be able to break through the petrified man and become an immortal god-level existence. Immortal level existence? Could it be that there really are immortals in this world? Su Yun was startled. Yes, how can there not be? This world is very big, so big that we don't even know how big it is. The tree spirit laughed. Hearing that, Su Yun nodded. This time, he had broadened his horizons. Brat, why did you come to the ultimate martial sacred plane? The tree spirit asked. Looking for someone. Su Yun said without hesitation. Do you also want to find an expert to take as your master? All these years, I have met countless spirit cultivator like you, but most of them are arrogant and have high standards and low skills. I am afraid that some of the real masters are not willing to guide them, and even if there's a real master who is willing to give them some pointers, I am afraid that these guys will not be able to learn anything. Senior, you are thinking too much. I did not come here to seek guidance from a master, but to look for a gatekeeper. Su Yun said indifferently. I want to go to the Wanhua realm, but the only way to the Wanhua realm is through the ultimate martial sacred plane, which is why I came here. Su Yun said. To the Wanhua realm? The tree spirit's miraculous face actually revealed a trace of astonishment, and only returned to normal after a long while, and said, I am afraid it is not that easy to enter the Wanhua realm. The current gatekeeper is not as easy to talk to as before. If you're unable to obtain their approval, they will definitely not let you enter. The current spirit cultivator only cares about their own benefits, crazily absorbing the resources of the Wanhua realm and continuously harming the living beings of the Wanhua realm. How can a gatekeeper allow outsiders to enter? No matter what, I want to go in, Su Yin said. However, he still had some doubts in his heart. Since it was so difficult to enter the Wanhua realm, then how did his parents enter? Furthermore, how did they enter the ultimate martial world? Were they very strong? Filled with doubts and anxious anticipation, Su Yun's heart was a little restless. At least for now, in this world, he did not only have Qing'er alone, he also had Hu Qianmei, Xianli, his father and mother, and a little sister that he had never met before. Brat, since you insist on going, then let me give you some pointers. Go west, go west, go west, and you will eventually meet those gatekeepers. The tree spirit's voice was somewhat serious as he said in a low voice. However, I must give you a piece of advice. You must be humble, cautious, and know your limits. If you anger those gatekeepers too much, what awaits you is only death. Those gatekeepers are not simple. Even in this ultimate martial sacred plane, there are still incredible existences. Do you understand? Hearing that, Su Yun nodded. He cupped his fists and bowed respectfully to the tree spirit. Junior will remember Senior's teachings. Chapter 554. With the guidance of the tree spirit, Su Yun walked straight to the west. After flowing through the clear stream and climbing over the steep hills covered in grass, Su Yun felt that there was something watching him from the shadows. It was only after a period of time that he realized that many of the creatures here had already become spirits. A flower, a tree, a blade of grass, a stone could all be in existence with a cultivation base of thousands or even tens of thousands. These are definitely not things that those demons and devils that relied on some kind of demonic aura, resentment, or killing aura could compare with. From time to time, One could see some spirit cultivator dressed in white robes flying through the sky on auspicious clouds. They were like immortals, giving off the feeling that they were unreachable. Su Yun, who was walking below, naturally entered their eyes. Although Long Zhen's wristband had concealed Su Yun's cultivation, these supreme expert-esque techniques were unique, and from Su Yun's attire and actions, they could guess his cultivation. Towards such a low cultivation person, most of the supreme expert-esque chose to ignore him and fly away. Seeing that, Su Yun was not angry. After all, there were too many spirit cultivator-esque with low cultivation that had rushed into the ultimate martial sacred plane. These great sages who were cultivating here had seen many of these fellows, so they were naturally very annoyed. After walking west for an unknown period of time, a different kind of scenery finally appeared in the distance. A village made entirely of wood. Su Yun looked into the distance, his heart slightly startled. Could it be that there were aboriginals here? However, this village was rather simple and crude. There were only houses and nothing else. Furthermore, there were many rune arrays on top of these houses. Su Yun was suspicious. He stepped forward, wanted to go in and take a look, and also ask about the situation of the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm to see if he could gain anything. However, after taking a few steps, he crashed into a transparent barrier, making it difficult for him to advance any further. Ugh! Su Yun took a few steps back, looked over, and realized that it was a barrier that isolated the entire village. When Su Yun touched the enchantment, the entire enchantment protecting the village immediately rippled, and then a young boy wearing a green robe appeared out of nowhere in the quiet village. The man quickly ran over, glanced at Su Yun, and then snorted. "Who are you? You actually don't know the rules. Don't you know that my teacher is giving a lecture?" "Sir? Lecture?" Su Yun was confused. He did not know what the man was talking about. So he cupped his fists and bowed and said, "I am Su Yun. This is my first time here, and I do not know many of the rules. If I have offended you in any way, please forgive me." Seeing that Su Yun's attitude was not bad, the other party's gloomy face relaxed a little. He looked at Su Yun and said, "Then what are you doing here? Do you also want to console my master? If that's the case, then come back in a few years. My master only recruits 10 disciples every 10 years. It's only been 7 years since the last time he recruited disciples. You still have to come back in 3 years. I'm sorry, I didn't come here to ask for your advice. I just came here to ask for directions." Su Yun said, "Aren't you here to be my disciple?" The man was stunned for a moment. He probably did not expect that someone would come here with another purpose. He looked at Su Yun seriously again, and then asked curiously, "What way are you asking?" "It's about the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm." Su Yun said, "Previously, at that side, I was proud of Senior Tree Spirit's guidance, and said that if I keep heading west, I can see the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm. But I don't know how long I've been down there, but I still haven't seen the gatekeeper, so I want to ask you, do you know where the gatekeeper is?" Unexpectedly, when the man heard Su Yun's words, his initially calm face immediately turned cold. He stared at Su Yun with disdain and contempt, and then snorted. "So you want to go to the Wanhua realm?" I don't know where the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm is. If you want to ask, go ask someone else." With that, the man ignored Su Yun and turned to walk into the village. Seeing this, Su Yun was shocked. What was going on? Why did he suddenly leave? The people of the ultimate martial sacred plane were really strange. But so be it. The ultimate martial sacred plane was only so big, since he was unwilling to say it. Couldn't he find it? Su Yun took a deep breath, turned his head, went around the village, and continued to head west. However, just as he reached the middle of the village, he couldn't help but stop in his tracks. The barrier was transparent. Although it prevented people from entering, the people on the outside could see clearly inside. It turned out that this was not a village, but a gathering place for a group of spirit cultivators. These wooden buildings were all their cultivation rooms. Looking in from the outside, it felt extremely quiet and empty. However, that was not the case, because at this moment, everyone was gathered in the center of this so-called village. There was a Bodhi tree there, and under the Bodhi tree, an old man wearing a white robe sat cross-legged. The old man looked very old, but his demeanor and temperament gave people a feeling that he was abnormally spirited. His hair was almost completely white, and it was extremely long and messy. His eyebrows and beard were also abnormally thick, and they all hung down to the ground. The old man's eyes were like two slits, and his eyeballs were almost invisible. He placed his hands on his knees, looked forward, and softly muttered some words. Beside him, there were more than 70 spirit cultivators sitting cross-legged. Although the old man did not use much strength to speak, his voice was unexpectedly clearly heard by everyone around him. The old man was naturally extraordinary. Suyin only took a glance at him and had such a strange thought in his mind. But what made him even more shocked was that of the 70 or so people sitting beside the old man, a portion of them could no longer feel their chi. Their auras were illusory, like bubbles in a dream. It was impossible to detect their cultivation. What realm was this? Suyun's heart trembled. The so-called spirit cultivation, using the spirit to enter the cultivation, using the cultivation to build the spirit. Everything in the world has a spirit. Cultivators also have a spirit. Everything in the world can become cultivators, and cultivators can also become everything in the world, becoming the master of the great Tao, 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 becoming the master of the great Tao. At this time, the old man's voice passed through the barrier that isolated the entire village and slowly leaked into Su Yun's ears. At first, Su Yun didn't think much of it, but as the old man said a few words, he couldn't help but think that it was reasonable and novel. Spirit cultivator, heart cultivator, spirit 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 cultivator. Was this the old man's opinion? Although there were some parts that he didn't quite understand, he couldn't help but reflect on it, and there was a wonderful feeling of enlightenment in his heart. As expected of a mighty figure, just a few casual words of enlightenment could make people feel enlightened. Su Yun thought. His footsteps actually stopped moving. He just stood outside the barrier, quietly listening to the old man's words. Everyone was so engrossed in listening that they didn't notice a man with a black sword on his back and a black cloak standing outside the barrier, not far away. The azure sky gradually darkened. Dark clouds covered the sky. A strong wind blew. The raindrops gradually fell on this magical land. However, Su Yun was completely unaware and continued to listen quietly. The devil blood in his body was abnormally restless, but at this moment, he felt as if he had completely fallen into a state of transcendence, and his heart was incomparably calm. The rain stopped, the wind stopped, and the sun shone brightly in the sky. Su Yun still maintained that appearance, standing outside the barrier. The old man's lecture lasted for a full 4 days and 3 nights. And in these 4 days and 3 nights, everyone, including Su Yun, did not move at all. Almost everyone was listening attentively. The old man raised his head slightly, his slits-like eyes slightly opened. He swept his gaze across the people present, and finally looked at Su Yun, who was standing quietly outside. He did not make any reaction, and continued to tirelessly narrate his experiences, comprehensions, and insights. The wind came and went, the sun and the moon alternated, and this time, another 6 days passed. 6 days. Perhaps when Su Yun came back to his senses, he would also feel that it was like yesterday. All right, today's lecture will end here. The old man continued to open his slits-like eyes, looking at the crowd as he spoke. As soon as he finished speaking, many of the people below who had been in the state of statues moved at the same time. Then they all stood up and bowed towards the old man, intending to leave. 1, 2, 3. Other than a few people, the majority of the people stood up, intending to leave. After listening to the old man's lesson, they would usually return to their own cultivation rooms to cultivate in seclusion or organize their experiences. Of course, there would be people who had doubts, but today, no one seemed to have any doubts about the 10-day course. Wait! Just as everyone was about to leave, the old man, sitting under the Bodhi tree, suddenly opened his mouth and shouted. Everyone stopped in their tracks and immediately turned to the old man with cupped fists and bowed, as if they were all ears. The old man stood up with his hands behind his back. He walked down and circled around them. Then he said indifferently, "None of you have any questions, and all of you plan to leave to cultivate in seclusion. In that case, all of you have already understood the content of what I have said these past few days, right?" As soon as these words came out, many people looked at each other in dismay. They were surprised that the old man would say such words. A few people who were quite confident and thought that they had learned well spoke in unison. This student believes that learning comes from the person and comprehension comes from the heart. Does that mean you have comprehended it? The old man turned his head and looked at the few spirit cultivator S who answered seriously, his eyes suddenly widening. The few of them felt uncomfortable being looked at by the old man like this. They all remained silent and did not say a word. However, the old man spoke again. "Since that's the case, then, based on what I have explained this time, I will test all of you. It shouldn't be a problem, right?" Chapter 555. Mister's words caught everyone off guard. Or perhaps it could be said that today's Mister was extremely different from usual. Everything was fine. Why did he suddenly ask a question? In the past, although the old man would ask the students some questions about spirit cultivation and profound chi, he would not ask them immediately after the end of the class. After all, after the class ended, most people would have an understanding in their hearts and would anxiously return to their own cultivation grounds to cultivate and comprehend this experience. However, since Mister had said so, none of the spirit cultivator present dared to go against his wishes. All of them had a humble attitude of listening respectfully. Since Mister intends to test this student will naturally accept Mister's teachings. A man wearing a purple gold crown and a cloud robe cupped his fists and said, "All right." The old man nodded his head decisively. After 3 seconds of silence, he didn't care if the students around him were prepared or not, and directly spoke. "What is the heart? What is the spirit? What about the soul? What about the spirit heart?" As soon as he said this, many people immediately put on a contemplative look. Some people rubbed their chins and lowered their heads in thought, their brows knitted together. The atmosphere around them was a little strange. However, not every spirit cultivator was frowning. There were a few people who looked at him with smiles on their faces, full of confidence. It seemed like they knew the answer. The cloud-robed man was one of them. He cupped his fist toward the old man and smiled. Then he said in a clear voice, "The heart is the essence and the spirit, the bones and the flesh, the eyes and the nose. It is everything that you see and feel. The spirit is the essence, the spirit, the bones and the flesh, the eyes and the nose. The heart is also the window through which we can peek into the divine way. Those without a heart will be forever shrouded in darkness, unable to move forward, and the heart of the spirit is the diamond on the divine way, carrying our footsteps here." The cloud-robed man spoke with confidence and composure. His enunciation was very clear, and every word he said was very appropriate. The students beside him listened quietly and kept nodding their heads. His perfect and outstanding performance caused the surrounding people to secretly cheer. Even the cloud-robed man himself couldn't help but praise his own performance. What the cloud-robed man said was exactly what the old man had said before, and there was nothing wrong with what he had said. Those who could be here were not ordinary people. No matter what they memorized, they could read 10 lines at a glance and not forget what they heard. Although the teacher had lectured for a full 10 days, every word and sentence that he had spoken during these 10 days had been engraved in everyone's heart, and no one had forgotten it. After his reply, the old man only stood quietly to the side. His eyes narrowed again, and he did not speak for a long time. He did not show any expression of satisfaction, nor did he show any displeasure. The cloud-robed man was still smiling, but when he saw the teacher like this, his smile immediately stopped. After thinking for a while, he cupped his fists and asked, "Sir, may I ask if I'm wrong?" "No, you're right. Not only that, you even added your own insights, your own experiences, and combined them with the thoughts of many spirit cultivator to express your own unique feelings." The old man nodded, but his expression did not change much. When the cloud-robed man saw this, a trace of doubt surfaced in his heart. What was going on? The old man raised his head and looked at the others around him. He asked calmly, "What about you guys? Do you share the same view as Suzy?" They're worlds apart. The others all cried out. However, as soon as these words were said, a strong sense of disappointment and helplessness appeared on the old man's face. The calmness from before had already disappeared without a trace. He could not help but shake his head. "I only know the surface. I don't know the inside. I don't know the inside side." With that, the old man raised his hand and waved it. He said indifferently, "All right, everyone who wants to go into closed-door cultivation, leave. There's no need to gather here." Although the old man said this, no one left. They all heard the sigh from the mister and knew that the mister must have something to say. Suzy did not go to the point. Otherwise, the mister would not have such an expression. "You only know the surface, but not the inside? Sir, what do you mean by that? Could it be that what Suzy said before was wrong? Please explain, mister." Suzy cupped his fists and said seriously, "It's just that the comprehension in your mind is everything that you've associated with what I've said. It's not your own feelings. You've only interpreted what I've said in the past few days. You haven't said the specific meaning." Mister shook his head and looked at the others. Then, "Do any of you know the deeper meaning here?" As soon as he said this, no one made a sound. Everyone lowered their heads, and some revealed confused expressions. No one could answer the old man's question. The strange atmosphere continued for a long time. The more the old man looked, the more disappointed he became. His long and narrow eyes had already closed, and he could not help but shake his head. Su-yun, who was listening outside the barrier, came back to his senses. He looked like he had just woken up from a dream, and his mind was filled with insights. The old man's words were very fresh, giving off a feeling of enlightenment. He had always been at a loss. He had even replaced the devil blood and entered the demonic path for the sake of revenge. At this moment, his stubborn heart had also been sublimated. What is human? What is spirit? What is everything? Everything in this world was actually like the sand beneath one's feet. Sometimes it was very strong and could support the entire world. Sometimes it was very weak and was nothing more than a speck of dust. There were no true experts in this world, nor were there any so-called weaklings. The weak and the strong were all in one's heart. Perhaps every blade of grass, every tree, every flower, and every leaf in this world was the ruler of this world. It was both a living being and a god, and it could become a living being and a god. Everything was like a big disk, and there was no such thing as the so-called strong or weak. The strong or the weak were just like the clouds in front of them. They were ethereal and unpredictable, and there was no such thing as forever strong or forever weak. Su-yun's current comprehension was very rich, but these comprehensions were changing at every moment. The old man's words had touched him greatly. He felt that he should find a place to properly digest these words and absorb the insights in his heart. He raised his head and looked at the old man seriously. Then, through the screen, he clasped his hands and bowed to the old man. After entering the ultimate martial world, perhaps no one's words could move him more than the old man's, and no one's words could help him so much. After bowing, Su-yun turned and prepared to leave, continuing to look for the so-called Wanhua Realm's gatekeeper. "Little friend, please wait a moment." At this moment, a voice suddenly came from behind. Su-yun stopped and turned to look, only to see the old man with his hands behind his back, slowly walking over. It was that mister. Su-yun was a little surprised, but he did not dare to be negligent, and immediately cupped his fists towards the old man. The old man slowly walked over as if he was taking a stroll. The barrier that isolated the village immediately disappeared without a trace after he touched it. Behind the old man were the 70-odd students. When they saw Su-yun, They were all surprised, and all of them whispered to each other, discussing amongst themselves. Who is this person? Why is he here? Is he a passing spirit cultivator? I know this guy. He's been standing here for a few days. He must have eavesdropped on Mister's lecture. This shameless fellow, he looks very unfamiliar. He must be someone who just entered the ultimate martial sacred plane. I reckon that the reason he came to the ultimate martial sacred plane is to fish in troubled waters and ask for some supreme expert's guidance. TSK, TSK, TSK. Every year, there will be some juniors with inferior strength who have high aspirations. All sorts of small voices sounded out. Although their voices were not loud, Su Yun still heard a lot of them. Hearing that, Su Yun frowned. Amongst these people, there were quite a few who had higher cultivation than him. Their foundations were strong, and their temperaments should not be bad either. How could they be like a woman and like to comment on others like that? Oh, I know you. Just then, a green-robed youth came out from the crowd. He ran in front of Su Yun and turned around, revealing a look of shock. He pointed at Su Yun and shouted, "Aren't you the guy who asked for directions? Why are you here? I understand. You must have eavesdropped on Mister's lecture. You shameless fellow." As soon as he said that, a few furious spirit cultivator appeared in the crowd. Stealing is a great crime. This person dares to do such a despicable thing. He must be severely punished. Destroy his fleshly body, exterminate his soul, and execute him. Right, execute him. Execute him. A few hot-tempered fellows immediately jumped out, looking like they wanted to swallow Su Yun alive. However, at this moment, the old man raised his hand, signaling for everyone to stop talking. With a raise of his hand, everyone immediately quietened down. Su Yun ignored the spirit cultivator behind him, who was much stronger than him, and seriously bowed to the old man and said, "I wonder why Senior called this Junior." "Oh, it's nothing much." The old man sized up Su Yun, smiled, and said, "I see that you have been standing outside for a few days. I think you have heard some of this old man's previous opinions. I wonder if little friend has any good opinions about this old man's previous question?" Hearing that, Su Yun shook his head. What Senior has said in the past few days are all words of enlightenment, classic words. How can they be my humble opinion? As for the question, I hope Senior can forgive me. This junior was slightly distracted and did not hear Senior's question clearly. Please ask Senior again. What is the heart? What is the spirit? What about the soul? What about the spirit heart? The old man asked directly. With that said, Su Yun became silent. The 70 pairs of eyes behind him all stared at Su Yun, all of them filled with anticipation, as though they were waiting for him to speak. Some of them whispered to each other, looking at him with ridicule. The old man was not anxious, nor did he say a word. With his hands behind his back, he stared at Su Yun. After an unknown period of time, Su Yun finally spoke. He raised his head, his pale face staring at the old man seriously. Without the slightest hesitation, 3 words came out of his mouth. I don't know. With that said, the scene became so quiet that if a needle fell to the ground, it would create a loud sound. Chapter 556. Don't know was simple 3 words. However, was this the time to say those 3 words? Su Yun might not know the status of the old man in front of him, nor did he know the influence he had in the ultimate martial sacred plane. In order to receive his slight guidance, the people here had expended a lot of energy. How could anyone dare to offend this person? After listening to the lessons for the past 10 days, everyone had some answers in their hearts. If they didn't know, wouldn't that mean that they didn't listen at all? If a student didn't listen to a teacher's lessons, that would be a great insult and disrespect to a teacher. He actually doesn't know? Isn't this guy secretly learning from me? I think this guy is just a lowly guy. It's hard for him to become a great person. Some of the guy's eyes were already filled with disdain, and some even turned their gazes away, as if looking at Su Yun one more time would be an insult to their own eyes. Su Zi and the rest sighed again and again, while Su Zi himself shook his head and said to Su Yun, "Mister has already said it very clearly. I still remember that Mister specially said it twice. How can you not even know this? Sigh, what a disgrace to Mister's profound wisdom. You should leave quickly." With that, Su Zi waved his hand, telling Su Yun to leave quickly. However, to everyone's surprise, the old man did not feel angry. Instead, his calm expression revealed a trace of peace. He nodded at Su Yun and said, "Didn't you listen to my lecture? Why don't you know? This junior has indeed listened to senior's lessons. In this regard, this junior has also heard some of senior's insights, but I don't know why I don't know either." Su Yun shook his head. "I feel that the thoughts in my heart are changing every moment. The spirit, heart, spirit, and spirit that I have comprehended are all changing. The second before and the second after are like heaven and earth, completely different. So, I don't have a standard answer in my heart. I don't know if senior insists on asking. I'm afraid I can only tell you. Everything can be the heart. Everything can be the spirit. Everything in this world, everything we think can become the answer." Su Yun said, even though he did not know what he was saying, but it did not matter. It was exactly what he was thinking. Although he did not know who the old man in front of him was, the 10 days of lessons that the old man had taught him had made him admire him. Facing someone he respected, he would not lie to him. What was he talking about? Su Yun's reply attracted a buzz of discussion from the back row. Some people scoffed and snorted, feeling that Su Yun was completely out of place. But in the next second, the old man actually laughed. Hee. The old man smiled benevolently. It was a smile that came from the bottom of his heart. He seemed to be very satisfied with Su Yun's answer. Seeing such an expression on the old man's face, everyone was completely stunned. What I've said is merely my understanding. I've thought about it from my perspective. In reality, the understanding I've spoken about back then is not the standard answer. Because right now, my state of mind is the same as this young friend's. Everything in the world is the answer. After the old man finished speaking, he turned his head and looked at the dumbstruck Su Zi and said, "Su Zi, your answer is a form, or rather, it is not even a form, because your answer is from the perspective of what I have said, and not from your own perspective. You only understand and comprehend what I have said, and this way, you will never be able to comprehend to a higher realm. In fact, it is not only this sentence, but even the days that I have been teaching you, every word that I have said, you should not think about it from the literal meaning, but from your own perspective. What I have said is just from experience, that is all." As soon as these words were said, everyone fell silent. The old man glanced at the crowd and said indifferently, "The process of teaching is very boring, but your cultivation is not low, and you can already endure the boredom and the loneliness, but you can't defeat the complacency in your hearts. You boast that your intelligence is outstanding, your comprehension is high, and every time I teach, you will listen to some of it, and you will quickly analyze it, interpret it, and then put it aside and not take it to heart. Perhaps when you have comprehended something, you will completely immerse yourself in your own comprehension and turn a deaf ear to my following words. This complacency will slowly become conceited, and in the end, you will commit suicide. Among all of you, there are only 2 or 3 people who can truly listen quietly like this young friend." When these words fell into everyone's ears, the surrounding people were shocked. So this was what the old man meant by what he said. Some people lowered their heads, feeling incomparably ashamed. Su Zi cupped his fists and lowered his head, not saying a word. How could he have known that his cleverness was just self-inflicted? Now, Mister's words were completely slapping his face. The old man did not say anything else. He turned around to look at Su Yun and asked, "Little friend, which great sage are you the student of? Senior is too modest. This junior is just a country bumpkin, not a student of any great sage. This junior is just a country bumpkin. I'm not very familiar with the rules here. If I have offended senior in any way, I hope that senior can forgive me." Su Yun laughed. Hearing that, the old man's long and narrow eyes widened and said in shock, "You just came to the ultimate martial sacred plane?" "Yes." Su Yun nodded. The old man carefully sized up Su Yun once again and actually nodded his head in satisfaction. He laughed and said, "Little friend, this old man sees that your talent is extraordinary and your vision is unique. You're a pretty good spirit cultivator genius. If you are willing to be this old man's student? Although this old man is not a virtuous person, but I like spirit cultivator with good talent, maybe this old man can teach you something." Hearing that, Su Yun was immediately overjoyed. He immediately cupped his fists and bowed 90 degrees and said, "How can I not accept senior's kindness?" "Good. All right." The old man was gratified, his eyes filled with joy. Just at this time, Su Yun's excited face suddenly revealed a look of difficulty. After that, he actually shook his head and said, "However, Senior, I'm afraid that Junior cannot stay here for long. Junior did not come to the ultimate martial sacred plane to seek a great sage to comprehend the great Tao, but to head to the Wanhua realm to search for the whereabouts of my parents. So even though Junior really wants Senior's guidance, but, hey kid, what do you mean by this? Reject my husband? Do you know that my master is one of the 5 sages of the ultimate martial sacred plane? How many people want to bow down to him? But you, my master, personally recruited you as a student, and you actually rejected him. Do you still put my master in your eyes?" Su Zi, who was behind, saw that Su Yun was actually hesitating and faintly had the intention to reject him. He was immediately angered. He took a few steps forward and shouted angrily, "Sigh, Su Zi, don't be angry. This little friend is also helpless. His parents are greater than the heavens. He also has his own difficulties." The old man said he was not the slightest bit dissatisfied with Su Yun's words. Hearing that, Su Zi lowered his head again, not daring to say a word. The old man looked at Su Yun and asked, "Then, little friend, I won't ask anything else. I just want to ask you, are you willing to become my master sub-hoodie student and accept my teachings?" "I can't ask for more." Su Yun bowed. "All right." The old man nodded, smiled, then took out a faceplate from his bosom and handed it over to Su Yun. "Since that's the case, then, you can be this old man's student. But this junior must first go find my parents." Su Yun looked troubled. "What conflict is there between you going to find your parents and becoming my student? You can go find your parents first, and when you're free, you can come here and listen to my lessons. I didn't force you to stay here." The master sub-hoodie laughed and said. Hearing that, Su Yun was moved and emotional. It was hard for him to understand what kind of mentality the master sub-hoodie had at this time, but without a doubt, it was a kind of open-minded and cheerful mentality, one that cared about everything, yet did not care about everything. What kind of supreme realm was this? Su Yun bowed to the old man again and seriously received the faceplate. According to the master sub-hoodie's instructions, he recorded his own information on it and then turned to leave. Heiyu Chamber of Commerce's main venue. As usual, the fatty Heiyu patrolled the Chamber of Commerce's venue. He led 2 spirit cultivator with decent cultivation. With his hands behind his back, he paced through the sea of people. When the spirit cultivator S, who entered the Chamber of Commerce to trade, saw this fatty, they would respectfully bow or greet him. Heiyu nodded his head, but there was not much of a smile on his face. "President Heiyu." At this moment, a familiar voice came from behind. Heiyu turned his head, only to see a few people walking over quickly. The person in the lead was Song Yen. "Oh, so it's Miss Song Yen. How have you been, miss?" Heiyu cupped his fists and said, "I heard that you are rebuilding the Song family, but I wonder how it is going." "President, you have a heart." Song Yen laughed bitterly and said, "I am a woman, and I am unable to pass on my inheritance. How can I rebuild it? I have been contacting a cousin of mine who is cultivating outside, but he has not returned to the Song family for many years, and I do not know if he is alive or dead. So I will wait for him to return and build a new life together." "President Heiyu, are you inspecting here?" "Yes." Heiyu nodded. "This is my daily mission. The reason why Heiyu Chamber of Commerce is able to reach its current scale is because of your hard work, President." Song Yen sighed. "Miss, is there something you need?" "Oh, I just want to find some things I need here and see if you have any." "Most of them do." "What does Miss Song Yen need?" "Let me get it for you," Heiyu said. Hearing that, Song Yen was extremely grateful. However, just as she was about to speak, a voice suddenly called out from the door. "Hey, does anyone here know Su Yen? Do you know where he is? Hurry up and bring him out to see me." With that said, the hall became silent. Song Yen and Heiyu's expressions froze. Who was so bold to call out the 100 Meetings Alliance's alliance leader by name? And with such a frivolous tone? With extreme dissatisfaction, the two of them looked towards the source of the voice at the same time. Chapter 5 57. An elf-like girl stood at the door. She didn't look very old, and she wore a fiery red dress with phoenix patterns on it. Her exquisite figure was perfectly wrapped up by the dress, making her look extremely seductive. However, what caught people's attention was her big, furry tail that swayed behind her perky butt, as well as the two playful ears that dangled from her long hair. The girl's eyes were golden in color, giving off a very intoxicating feeling. Her small face was exquisite and charming, and her skin was as white as snow. On her forehead, there was even a little golden pattern. If one did not look carefully, it would be difficult to see this pattern. Seeing the girl, Song Yin and He Yu looked at each other. The two of them could see the doubt in each other's eyes. "Let's go take a look." He Yu whispered to Song Yin, then walked towards the young lady. The girl's gaze swept around. A fluffy snow-white tail was constantly swaying, making people want to hold it tightly in their hands and play with it. "Who is this young lady? May I know why you are looking for alliance leader, Sue?" He Yu asked with a serious expression. The girl looked at the fatty in front of her, placed her hands on her hips, and asked, "Is your alliance leader Su Yun?" "That's right. I believe everyone in Beiyang knows about it." "Then is your alliance leader from the Sky Martial Continent?" the girl asked again. Hearing that, He Yu thought for a moment, but he was not in a hurry to answer the girl's question and asked, "Who are you?" "Who I am is none of your business. If he's still here, quickly get him out or bring me to find him. Hurry." The girl's eyes were filled with urgency, excitement, and anticipation. Seeing that, He Yu immediately knew that this person was not Su Yun's enemy. If he was an enemy, why would he reveal such an anxious and expectant gaze? He could not see even the slightest bit of hostility in the girl's eyes. "Please reveal your identity, Mississippi." "If Miss is unwilling to reveal your identity, I'm afraid, Hey, you will not be able to contact Lord Su Yun for you." Hey, you cupped his fists and said. Seeing the fatty being so cautious, the girl, Hu Qianmei, could not help but pout and was a little displeased. All right. You damn fatty. You're as careful as a fox. I don't know what you're afraid of. Could it be they'll eat your adults?" "Fox? Aren't you a fox yourself?" Hey, you shook his head. "I'm the wife of your alliance master. If you like, you can call me Madam Alliance Master." At that moment, the young woman crossed her arms in front of her chest and said with a shocking tone, "What?" Both of them were shocked when they heard this, and they looked at the girl in astonishment. Alliance Master's wife? Could it be? You are the Alliance Leader's dual cultivation partner? Hey, you looked at the young girl in shock. He carefully sized Hu Qianmei up, and his eyes suddenly became strange. Seeing that, Hu Qianmei giggled and said, "That's right. Your Alliance Leader likes girls like me who still look like children. How about it? Isn't his taste very unique?" Hey, you did not know how to reply. "Young lady, are you telling the truth? Although I haven't known the Alliance Master for a long time, I've never heard of him having a dual cultivation companion. Furthermore, if he had a dual cultivation companion, why wouldn't he follow the Alliance Master?" At this moment, Song Yin suddenly came over and asked seriously. Hearing that, Hu Qianmei's pair of golden eyes turned and stared at Song Yin. Suddenly, she moved closer and stood in front of Song Yin, staring straight at the woman. Hu Qianmei sized him up from top to bottom, then circled around Song Yin and laughed. Her breasts are not big, but is not perky, and she does not have much talent. For a woman like you could just play with her. Hearing that, Song Yin was a little angry. What nonsense are you talking about? Nothing. Hu Qianmei laughed lightly and said, All right, stop beating around the bush. Quickly bring me to see your alliance leader. I haven't seen him for a long time. I miss him a lot. You are an unknown person. How can you casually see our alliance leader? Song Yin seemed to be angered by Hu Qianmei's words and immediately snorted and rejected. Unknown origin? Hu Qianmei took out half a jade-like object from his pocket and handed it over to He Yu. You guys can just take this and give it to your alliance leader. He Yu looked at the thing, but did not accept it. In fact, he had long since confirmed that the girl in front of him knew the alliance leader, but he was unable to bring her to see him. I'm sorry, our alliance leader is no longer in the Beiyang. As far as I know, he has already entered the desolate devil battlefield, and if everything goes smoothly, he might have already entered the ultimate martial sacred plane. Hey, you said. Hearing that, Hu Qianmei was startled. Desolate devil battlefield? Ultimate martial sacred plane? Was he doing there? I don't know. Hey, you shook his head. Hu Qianmei's cute eyebrows knitted tightly. She opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but did not know what to say, and could only lower her head to think. Hey, Yu and Song Yin looked at each other again, as if they had something to say in their hearts. President He Yu. At this time, a servant quickly ran over and called out to He Yu. What happened? He Yu asked. The servant hurriedly said, President, outside there's a woman outside. Woman? What woman? What a beautiful woman. The servant suddenly grinned and said, She said she's here to look for you. Oh. He Yu was startled. Song Yin, who was at the side, smiled slightly. Seems like President He Yu is quite popular with women. As the words left his mouth, waves of exclamations came from the hall. Soon after, a woman wearing a white robe walked in with light steps. Seeing that, the servant hurriedly said, President, she's come in. He Yu looked up and saw the woman walking over. His bean-sized eyes widened a bit. In terms of looks, the fox girl in front of him was already very extraordinary. She was protruding, concave, beautiful, and graceful. Especially her fox ears and foxtail, it added a lot of temptation. However, the person who walked over at this moment was even more extraordinary. Her appearance was exceptionally elegant, like a green lotus. Her long hair draped over her shoulders like a black waterfall. Her figure was tall and slender, and her temperament was elegant. She was simply like a fairy. The fox girl turned her head to look at the person who had walked over. She snorted and crossed her arms in front of her chest. Oh, junior sister, are you all right? The white-clothed woman also noticed the fox-eared and fox-tailed young girl, but the latter's back was facing her, so she couldn't see clearly. When the young girl turned around, the white-clothed woman confirmed the other's identity. She quickly walked over, gracefully bowed, and softly said, Greetings, Senior Marshal's sister. Come on, don't do that. I don't like it. Hu Qianmei's rosy lips curled up slightly. She walked in front of Long Xianli, circled around her, and said with a smile, You're not dead. That's great. Hearing that, a trace of emotion flashed past Long Xianli's bright and deep eyes. She never thought that at this critical juncture, the one who risked his life to save her was not the immortal sword sect that she was loyal to, but the one who had always wanted to kill her, the one who had always wanted to destroy the immortal sword sect. This contrast made her state of mind extremely chaotic. After being released by Yin Shan, Long Xianli did not immediately return to the Emperor Palace. She knew that it was useless to continue asking for help from the Emperor Palace or the Immortal Sword Sect. The only thing she could do was to rely on her own strength to think of a way to save Yin Shan. Otherwise, she would feel guilty in her heart, and even more sorry for the dead Elder Shenhong. However, what no one expected was that while she was still painstakingly thinking about how to deal with Yin Shan, a shocking news came from the Suicide Valley. The Suicide Valley was destroyed, the 100 Meetings Alliance was established, and the alliance leader was Su Yun. When Long Xianli heard this news, he was completely dumbfounded. No matter how she thought about it, she would never have thought that the Suicide Valley would end up like this. Therefore, she decided to come to the 100 Meetings Alliance to take a look and ask He Yu, who was extremely close to the alliance leader. If possible, she hoped to meet this alliance leader who had suddenly appeared and see if he was the Su Yun from the Sky Martial Continent. You don't need to confirm. That guy is Su Yun from the Sky Martial Continent. Hu Qianmei seemed to have guessed Long Xianli's intention in coming here, and said with a smile. Long Xianli's heart trembled, and immediately asked, Then where is he now? These two fellows said that he went to the ultimate martial sacred plane. Hu Qianmei sighed. Ultimate martial sacred plane? Long Xianli's eyebrows slightly twitched. That is the place where the supreme expert gathers. It is an incredible holy land. Ordinary spirit cultivator does not have the qualifications to enter. Junior sister, although you have followed the immortal sword sect into the ultimate martial world, your current strength is too weak. It is definitely impossible for you to go to the ultimate martial sacred plane. You should just cultivate properly. As for Su Yun, it is better if I go find him. Hu Qianmei laughed. Long Xianli lowered his head and did not say a word. Song Yin, who was at the side, was confused when he heard this. Looking at the two women in front of him who had completely crushed his appearance, he felt slightly unhappy and asked, "May I ask who this lady is? What is her relationship with my alliance leader?" "How should I put it?" Hu Qianmei scratched his head and said, "If it's her, she should also be considered your alliance leader's mistress, right?" "Senior sister, what nonsense are you talking about?" Long Xianli's fair face immediately burned as she said, somewhat angrily, "Nonsense?" Hu Qianmei laughed bitterly and shook his head. "You idiot, don't you know why the Suicide Valley was destroyed this time?" Hearing that, Long Xianli was startled. "Why? It's all because of you." Hu Qianmei sighed. "Because of me?" Long Xianli's eyes lost focus. Could it be that Su Yun? It's impossible for Su Yun to do it for by Yin Shan, who already has nothing to do with him. The reason why he destroyed the Suicide Valley must be because of you. I guess that's the only possibility, Hu Qianmei said softly. Chapter 558. Master Subhoodie, one of the 5 sages of the ultimate martial sacred plane. His position in the ultimate martial sacred plane was extraordinary, and no ordinary person could compare to him. Knowing that the old man in front of him had such an outstanding identity, Su Yun was naturally surprised and happy. At the end of the class, the students returned to their own cultivation grounds to cultivate. However, Su Yun was not in a hurry to leave, and instead chatted with the Master Subhoodie. There was no one around the Bodhi tree. Only the two of them sat facing each other under the tree. Su Yun looked around, then said, "Teacher, do you know where the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm is now?" Although the ultimate martial sacred plane could not be compared to the Beiyang, it was not small either. It had always been facing west, but Su Yun did not know the exact location of the west side. As one of the 5 sages, the Master Subhoodie must know, so asking him was the best. The Master Subhoodie raised his hand lightly, and a gust of wind blew past, causing the Bodhi tree to rustle. Following that, a green leaf fell from the sky and gently landed in the palm of the Master Subhoodie. Master Subhoodie raised his other hand and gently covered the leaf, then opened it and handed it over to Su Yun. "Bring it with you. It will bring you to the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm." The Master Subhoodie chuckled and said, "I have interacted with the gatekeepers of the Wanhua realm before. They are all people with profound wisdom and high cultivation. They will not allow outsiders to enter the Wanhua realm easily. But you are my student. Although I do not understand you very well, I still know a bit about you. I think it is completely possible for you to enter the Wanhua realm. And when you reach the gate of the Wanhua realm, you will hand over the nameplate I gave you to the gatekeeper. I believe that with my old face and the situation you have described, the gatekeeper will allow you to enter." Hearing that, Su Yun was overjoyed. He immediately cupped his fist toward the Master Subhoodie and bowed. "Teacher, thank you so much this time." "You're welcome. It's just a small matter." The Master Subhoodie laughed. The two of them chatted for a while longer. Su Yun looked at the training rooms around him and asked suspiciously, "Teacher, you are a person of great wisdom. Logically speaking, this student of yours should have inherited great wisdom. But why was it that before?" At this point, Su Yun hesitated. Why are all the students from before not having a good temperament, unable to maintain their composure, and unable to keep their minds, right? Master Subhoodie said with a smile. Su Yun hesitated, but still nodded his head. However, Master Subhoodie stroked his white beard and laughed. That's because their temperament is not comparable to their cultivation. Can't compare. That's right, Su Yun. In your eyes, his cultivation is incomparably powerful, but in reality, his cultivation is just a fake cultivation. Fake cultivation? Could it be that everything I said was fake? Yes. Master Subhoodie nodded his head and said indifferently, "In truth, Su Yun, within the cultivation that you possess, there is still a portion that is fake." Hearing that, Su Yun immediately understood. "Teacher, what you are referring to is the cultivation obtained from absorbing cultivation coins." That's right. That's what I'm talking about. The master Savudi said indifferently, cultivation is obtained through cultivation. True cultivation is obtained through one's own cultivation, not by absorbing the cultivation of others. This is just an opportunistic method. What we need is to experience and comprehend in the process of cultivation. It is a type of tempering of the physical body and spirit, and not to rely on external objects to forcefully fill it up. This kind of cultivation is simply fake and does not exist. But the fact that they relied on the profound coin to become an incredible supreme expert is a real thing. Su Yun asked, how can this be real? If that's the case, why would you think that their temperament is not good? Why would you ask me this question? The master Subhuti laughed. Hearing that, Su Yun became silent. A true expert has the heart of heaven and earth, exists between all living things, accepts all rivers into the sea, is big, does not look down on the weak, does not fear the strong, from the beginning to the end, maintains a calm and peaceful heart. What I teach is a talent that can be taught. Those who truly possess great wisdom, I will not teach them, nor do I need to teach them. They need me to teach them, and I want to teach them, and my so-called teaching is actually just a simple enlightenment. The master Subhuti said, this student has learned his lesson. Su Yun, actually from the first time I saw you, I felt that you were special and mystical. This is a mystical thing that is different from the other students. Perhaps you have not noticed it for so many years, but I have. The master Subhuti said as he looked at Su Yun seriously. Magical? Su Yun was confused. Teacher, what do you mean? The master Subhuti shook his head lightly, but smiled without saying a word. Su Yun was even more suspicious. After chatting with the master Subhuti for a full 3 days, Su Yun finally bade farewell. This trip had truly benefited him greatly, although his cultivation did not increase at all, but his mental state had a significant improvement. The ultimate martial sacred plane was indeed extraordinary, but when he first stepped foot in this place, he had already met a great sage like the master Subhuti. He did not know what the other great sages would be like. Su Yun's heart was filled with anticipation. If he was not in a hurry to find his parents, he really wanted to visit every single sage in the ultimate martial sacred plane. Taking out the Bodhi leaf that the master Subhuti had given him, Su Yun activated the profound chi and activated the leaf. In an instant, the leaf released waves of dark green light. It was extremely dazzling, and then the leaf suddenly left Su Yun's palm and flew forward. Su Yun immediately followed the leaf and ran forward. The leaf seemed to be blown by the wind as it spun in the air. It was light and melodious, very agile. It floated in the air and did not fall. Under Ye's lead, Su Yun climbed over the mountain, crossed the river, and also passed by many cultivation grounds set up by the spirit cultivator. Finally, he arrived in front of a vast sea of flowers. This was an extremely beautiful sea of flowers. Su Yun stood at the edge of the sea of flowers and looked over, only to see a multicolored and beautiful scene in front of him. A fragrance that could intoxicate one's soul assaulted his nose. One could see that above this strange sea of flowers, there were many palm-sized humanoid spirits flying around the 100-flower plate. These elves were very good-looking. The men were handsome and the women were beautiful. Their bodies were slender and exquisite, and there was a pair of bright and elite wings on their backs. Some elves wore clothes made of leaves, while others were completely naked. They were not afraid of being seen from head to toe. The leaf fell from the sky and returned to Su Yun's palm. Su Yun carefully kept the leaf and then went down the sea of flowers and walked towards the center. In the center of the sea of flowers, there was a towering tree that seemed to connect to the sky above. The tree was lush with leaves, and its huge branches and leaves covered the entire sea of flowers. Traces of light seeped out from the leaves and leaves, making the flowers beside the tree seem even more wonderful and beautiful. Su Yun looked at the huge tree and saw that there were many magical and agile spirit beasts on top of the tree. There was a single-horned, 7-colored cicada, a 4-armed spirit monkey, and even a snow-white, exquisite and cute spirit cat. When Su Yun barged into the sea of flowers, the spirit beasts, and elves all stared at him. Some of the elves were scared away and flew around, while the larger spirit beasts cautiously approached. "Who are you?" When Su Yun entered the area covered by the giant tree, a lion with a fiery red mane walked over and roared at Su Yun. "I am Su Yun, and I am here to find the entrance to the Wanhua realm. May I ask everyone, is this the entrance?" Su Yun said humbly and seriously. "The entrance to the Wanhua realm?" The red-haired lion snorted. "Another person who wants to enter the Wanhua realm? Why don't you guys know what's good for you? The gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm will not let you in. You should leave quickly. I sincerely wish to enter the Wanhua realm. If Senior knows the location of the gatekeeper seniors, please inform me. I will be extremely grateful." Su Yun cupped his fists and said, "What sincerity? Everyone who comes here calls out their sincerity, but in reality, aren't they all greedy for the resources of the Wanhua realm? Originally, the Wanhua realm was open to the people of your ultimate martial world, but when you went to the Wanhua realm, you continued to do evil and did all sorts of evil things, which caused the anger of the people of the Wanhua realm and restricted the people of your ultimate martial world from entering the Wanhua realm. You still want to go in now? That's impossible." The red-haired lion said, "You're not the gatekeeper of the Wanhua realm. What's the use of saying all this?" Seeing that the red-haired lion was unwilling to point the way, Su Yun decided not to ask him anymore and directly walked past it towards the big tree. His intuition told him that the gate to the Wanhua realm was definitely on this tree. The red-haired lion did not stop him, and the other spirit beasts did the same. They only surrounded Su Yun, looking at him curiously, and followed Su Yun's footsteps. Su Yun looked around carefully, and his heart became a little vigilant. However, just as he was about to approach the big tree, two strange and mysterious auras descended from the sky, covering his head. Su Yun's heart tensed up, and he retreated a few steps. A ray of light flashed in front of him, followed by a voice that floated into his ears. "Greedy people of the ultimate martial world, quickly leave. Do not come any closer, otherwise I will make sure that you will not be able to return." His voice was ice-cold, filled with killing intent and hostility. Who knows how many of these annoying flies come here every day? Don't tell me you people haven't learned your lesson? Do you think that we will let you enter the Wanhua realm so easily? The one who spoke was a woman. Her voice was extremely arrogant, filled with contempt and disdain. Hearing that, Su Yun frowned. He was a little unhappy, but in order to quickly head to the Wanhua realm, no matter how unhappy he was, he could only endure it. Su Yun took out the nameplate given to him by the master subhoodie, then held it with both hands and said calmly, "Are the two seniors of the Wanhua realm? I am Su Yun, a student of one of the 5 sages, master subhoodie. I have urgent matters to attend to in the Wanhua realm. I hope that the two seniors can accommodate me and allow me to cross realms. This is what teacher asked me to give to the two of you." With that, he handed over the nameplate. Chapter 559. "Oh, Master Subhoodies?" The man was stunned. The light gradually disappeared, and then a man and a woman appeared within the light. The two of them were dressed in emerald green robes. The man was handsome, and the woman was beautiful and elegant. Both of their temperaments were excellent, giving off an exceptionally amiable feeling, as well as an indescribable sense of elegance and excellence. However, the two of them were still looking at Su Yun with a trace of vigilance in their eyes. It could be said that there was an unconcealable disgust in the depths of their eyes. Su Yun understood where their disgust came from. It seemed that the people of ultimate martial world had been completely rejected by the Wanhua realm all these years. The man's name was Mu Gue, and the woman's name was Mu Ying. The two of them had been guarding this place for 30 years, and when the Wanhua realm started to restrict the people of ultimate martial world from entering, they were sent here. Mu Gue received the nameplate from Su Yun and placed his hand on it. In an instant, the nameplate released circles of emerald green light. He knew that the nameplate given to him by the Master Subhoodie was definitely a magic tool, but he did not know what its effects were. The light rippled outwards in circles. Very quickly, the light dissipated, and an old and kind voice floated out from the nameplate. I ask if you're my friend Mugue. Master Subhoodie, is that you? Mugue looked at the nameplate and asked. It's me. Master Subhoodie's laughing voice came out from the nameplate. I heard your voice. I believe you've already seen my student Suyun. I saw it. Mugue raised his head and looked at Suyun and said indifferently, he is right in front of me. Since that's the case, then this time, I will have to ask you, Mugue, to make an exception. My student wants to go to the Wanhua realm to find his parents. His family is higher than the heavens. His parents are bigger than the heavens. This child has a sincere heart. It is rare and precious. Please let him enter the Wanhua realm. Master Subhoodie said. Hearing that, Mugue was silent for a moment, then shook his head. Master, it is not that I am merciless. It is just that the current Wanhua realm has already been messed up by the people of the ultimate martial world. It is a mess. If we continue to let these people in, I am afraid the Wanhua realm will be destroyed. I guarantee that after stepping into the Wanhua realm, I will not touch a single flower, a single blade, a single tree, a single leaf, and will abide by the rules of the Wanhua realm. I will always remember seniors' instructions, and after I find my father and mother, I will immediately leave the Wanhua realm. Suyun immediately cupped his fists and said, his voice sonorous and serious. Right now, he only wanted to see his parents as soon as possible. Even if the Wanhua realm was the gold realm or the silver realm, he did not care. Mugue Muing, this child has already said it like this. What are you still worried about? If it really doesn't work, I'm willing to take responsibility for their actions. Can you give me face and allow him to enter? At this time, the Master Subhoodie interrupted again, and an aged voice came out from the nameplate. This Mugue was silent. Mugue, the Master Subhoodie, is a great sage. Even the elders of the Wanhua realm are extremely respectful to him. It's rare for him to speak today, so it's not good for us to reject him. Seeing that Mugue was hesitating, Muing spoke up. Mugue nodded his head, raised his head again, looked at Suyun, and sized him up for a long while, then said, since the master has spoken, if I were to reject him, it would be disrespectful to you. Although the Wanhua realm has restricted the people of the ultimate martial world from entering, it has not reached the point of rejecting them. Then Subhoodie will thank the two of you on behalf of my student. The Master Subhoodie laughed. No need. Mugue shook his head. Hearing that, Suyun was overjoyed. He immediately cupped his fist towards the two people in front of him. Thank you, too. Thank you, teacher. Remember what you said before. Once you enter the Wanhua realm, you must abide by the rules there. Don't lose your dignity as a teacher. The Master Subhoodie instructed, and then the light on the nameplate gradually dissipated. Mugue handed the nameplate over to Suyun, who carefully received it, then turned and walked towards the towering tree. Follow us. The lady called Muing crossed her arms across her chest and said indifferently to Suyun, then followed Mugue and leaped up, soaring into the sky. Suyun anxiously followed closely behind and flew up. The big tree was extremely large, and from below, one could see the incomparably thick tree trunk, while the top was even more so a different world. As they continued to ascend, more and more scenes appeared in front of their eyes. They could see that the tree was densely packed with spirit beasts. The big ones were 3 to 4 meters tall, and they were curled up on the thick branches, resting with their eyes closed, while the small ones were only an inch long, standing on the branches, looking curiously at Suyun. Specks of sunlight seeped out from the dense leaves and shone down, rendering the place beautiful. There were also a large number of red and purple fruits floating in the air. They did not grow on the leaves, but floated there as if they were ownerless objects. Many spirit beasts could be seen casually grabbing a fruit and eating it heartily. The surrounding scene was harmonious, causing people to be unable to help but sigh in their hearts. Very quickly, Mugue and Muing, who were leading the way, slowed down. Suyun raised his head to look, and with just a glance, he was shocked. A thick, long, and enormous branch appeared above. This branch was nearly 10 meters wide, and its length was even more difficult to calculate. It directly extended out lush branches and leaves, growing outwards. This tree was mysterious, and the largest branch was probably this one. At the top of the tree were buildings scattered all over the place. It was like a village, and there were many short elves walking back and forth in the village. In the middle of the village was a 3-meter-tall wooden door. The wooden door was wrapped in vines, and the door was tightly shut. Specks of light seeped out from the cracks of the door. Su-yin looked at the wooden door and felt that the light that seeped out from the crack was extremely mysterious. This place was simply like a paradise. Everything seemed so harmonious and beautiful. Green leaves, colorful flowers, fresh fruits, elves. Master Mu Gui, Master Muing. When the elves saw the man and woman flying over, they all ran out and shouted excitedly. Mu Gui and Mu Ying's tensed faces finally revealed a kind and amiable smile. They flew over and stood together with the elves. They lowered their heads and smiled as they said something to them. Both of their faces were shining with light, making people feel extremely close to them. Seeing that, Su-yin could not help but stop. He stood in the air and watched the scene from afar. He still remembered that the Master Subhoodie had once said that these two were people with great wisdom. Although the two of them did not say anything that was rich in philosophy, the feeling they gave off at this moment was like that of sage. That indescribable feeling of perfection and mystery was simply unforgettable. The two of them talked with the elves for a while, then turned their heads and said to Su-yin, "Come over, we will open the door to the Wanhua realm for you. I hope that after you enter the Wanhua realm, you will remember what you said before, abide by everything in the Wanhua realm, and treat that place as your own home. After all, that's our home." Muing followed up. Hearing that, Su-yun's expression was extremely serious. He cupped his fists and bowed to the two of them. "I will definitely remember this." Mu Gui and Muing nodded lightly. After that, the two of them, accompanied by the elves, walked towards the wooden door. The two of them stood on the left and right, each of them extending a hand and pressing on the door. They closed their eyes and started chanting, causing a large amount of dazzling light to appear in their palms, followed by a wong-wong sound that rippled in the air. Very quickly, crash, the door slowly opened, and a dazzling light leaked out from within. The Wanhua Realm's gate. After entering the Wanhua Realm, he would be able to find his parents once he headed to the Linglong Mountain. Su-yin was extremely excited. His eyes were filled with an unconcealable passion. He was ready to make a move, and his body involuntarily flew towards the door. How many years had it been? How many days had it been? How many years had it been? Although the days in the Su family were unbearable to him, no matter what happened, he would never forget that he was the son of Su Shintian and Shun Shueshue, and his name was Su-yun. "Father, mother, your child is here." Su-yin looked at the dazzling door and muttered, very soon, they would meet again with..." At this moment, a scarlet arrow suddenly shot out from the dense foliage of the forest, heading straight for them. The sharp arrow flew at an abnormally fast speed, and almost all the surrounding creatures did not have time to react. Su-yin was thinking about his parents and did not notice it in time. When he sensed the arrow flying towards him, the arrow had already approached Mu Ying, who was opening the door. The two of them were so focused on opening the door that they did not notice the sharp arrow behind them. Su-yun's eyes widened, and he anxiously roared, "Be careful!" "What?" Mu Gui and Mu Ying were startled. They turned their heads, but the arrow had already attacked them. An ear-piercing sound came out. The incomparably sharp, blood-red arrow pierced through Mu Ying's shoulder, nailing her to the wooden door behind her. "Ah!" Mu Ying let out a painful cry. "Who is it? Who is the one who stabbed me in the back? Who is it?" Mu Gui's eyes were spewing flames. He glared at his surroundings and shouted loudly. The dense foliage in the surroundings was suddenly cut apart by a large amount of blood-red devil chi. Countless creatures did not have the time to dodge the terrifying devil chi and were directly chopped into pieces. Following that, a large number of figures descended from the sky and rushed towards them. "Wanhua Realm's gatekeeper? Back then, you and the others did not allow us to enter the Wanhua Realm. Today, I want to see if you still dare to not allow us to enter the Wanhua Realm." A cold voice floated out, and then a tall and thin figure flew over. The auras around these figures were extremely cold, and they were suffused with an astonishing and terrifying ruthless aura. They were like demons from the abyss, devil chi. Su Yun's heart tensed up. He stared at the existences that had just appeared, and his relaxed heart tensed up again. Chapter 560. In the blink of an eye, there were more than 30 figures. Looking closely, they were all devil cultivator-esque. Some of them were dressed in armor. Some of them were dressed in feathered robes. All of them had different attire, but all of them had extremely terrifying chi. Every single one of them had a cultivation of Sky Spirit Master. They were in a ring shape, wrapping the entire village tightly. The devil chi that filled the sky dyed the big tree in an extremely strange manner. The flowers were no longer bright, and the green leaves were no longer bright. The light gradually faded, and all the vitality seemed to have turned into nothingness at this moment. Demon Dweller. So many demon dwellers? Why did so many demon dwellers appear all of a sudden? Su Yun only regained his senses after a long while. Looking at the pale Mu Ying whose shoulder was pierced through, he knew that the situation today was not as good as he had imagined. "You, are you the devil dwellers that came a while ago?" Mu Gui pulled out the blood arrow, supported Mu Ying, stared at the surrounding devil cultivator, and asked angrily, "Looks like you haven't forgotten us." "Not bad, not bad. You still have some memory. This is good too. We don't have to introduce ourselves." A slightly plump female demon dweller flew over. She looked at Mu Gui frivolously and said in a mocking tone, "You want to enter the Wanhua realm?" Mu Gui clenched his teeth and asked, "Since you know, then quickly open the door to the Wanhua realm. Otherwise, we will have to open the door ourselves." A male devil dweller with a braid and a red horn the size of a finger on his head said coldly, "The last time the two of us came over to request to enter the Wanhua realm, you refused, and in the end, we fought and were defeated by you. I admit that our cultivation is not as good as the two of you, but now there are 30 devil cultivator experts here. I want to see what other abilities the two of you have to contend against us." The female devil cultivator laughed, her face full of pride. When Mu Gui heard this, he immediately gritted his teeth. Mu Ying shook her head lightly and said, "Devil cultivator is a devil cultivator, greedy and brutal, not knowing what's good for them. Last time, we spared their lives and let them go, but we never thought that they would actually repay kindness with enmity. If we knew that today would happen, we would not have shown any mercy back then and would have directly killed you all." "What? Do you regret it?" The female devil cultivator laughed. "I regret it, but what can I do? Do you think that just because you have more people, the two of us will be afraid of you?" Mu Gui snorted. "From your words, it seems like you won't obediently open the door to the Wanhua realm." The horned male devil cultivator asked, "We would rather let that person from the ultimate martial world enter the Wanhua realm than let you devil cultivator enter." Mu Gui said solemnly, "Since that's the case, don't blame us for being impolite." The demonic cultivator seemed to have lost his patience. He snorted and waved his hand. In that moment, all the devil cultivator-esque in the surroundings rushed towards Mu Gui and Mu Ying with all their might. Demonic chi gathered in the air to form a huge and sinister mouth, which viciously and cruelly bit towards the two of them. That aura was so strong that it was suffocating. Seeing that, Mu Gui and Mu Ying immediately used all of their techniques and struck towards the sky. The two of them released tens of thousands of emerald green palm images, their auras exploding out. They were actually not the slightest bit weaker than the devil cultivator. As the gatekeepers of the Wanhua realm, the two of them were naturally not weak. Normally, these 30 devil cultivator-esque would not be considered much, but now, Mu Ying had suffered a sneak attack, and her fighting strength had dropped greatly. Her shoulder was still suffused with a dark red color, as though she had been poisoned, and every time she activated the profound chi, she would feel extreme pain, and the profound chi that she activated was also extremely sparse. In order to protect Mu Ying from harm, Mu Gui had also used all of his strength. But in order to protect Mu Ying, his own body had been greatly restricted, causing the strength he was currently displaying to be incomparable to the past. The attacks of these 30 Devil Cultivator-S were extremely ferocious. Most of them did not rely on magic treasure-S to attack, but purely relied on their own hands. The Devil Cultivator's hands turned into sharp claws, crazily attacking. Every claw could release tens of thousands of Devil Chi-S. The Devil Chi was thousands of times stronger than sulfuric acid. Ordinary Spirit Cultivator-S that touched it would definitely turn to blood and die. But Mu Gue and Mu Ying were not injured, but the profound chi that was protecting their bodies was quickly being consumed. Mu Ying struggled to hold onto a slender bamboo stick and continuously danced in all directions. A large amount of dense spirit life chi floated outwards, isolating the dense and terrifying devil chi, while Mu Gue took out a slender curved blade, blocking the demon claws that were attacking him from all directions. It was extremely strenuous for Mu Gue. These Devil Cultivator-S seemed to know that Mu Gue was not easy to deal with, so they focused all of their energy to kill Mu Ying. Protecting others and protecting themselves were two completely different concepts, and the female Devil Cultivator and the Horned Devil Cultivator were specifically attacking Mu Gue. Despicable. Sensing the other party's intentions, Mu Ying could not help but curse. "Ha! There are a lot of people who call us despicable. I don't care about your words." The female Devil Cultivator laughed out loud. Hearing that, Mu Ying was enraged. She wanted to retaliate and attack the female Devil Cultivator. But when she suddenly activated her chi, she felt a sweetness in her throat and spat out a mouthful of blood, almost fainting. "Mu Ying!" Mu Gue shouted anxiously. "An opportunity!" The Horned Devil Cultivator's blood-red eyes flashed with a sharp light. His claw released a ball of flame-like red light, fiercely and ruthlessly smashing towards Mu Gue's head. Mu Gue was shocked. He anxiously raised the weapon in his hand to block. Because he was too hasty, the profound strength could not keep up. The blade trembled crazily from the claw attack. Mu Gue, who was carrying Mu Ying, was also forced to retreat. The two of them crashed into the wooden door at the same time. The Devil Cultivator immediately surrounded the two of them. The female Devil Cultivator was accumulating her devil power as she walked towards the two of them step by step. Her blood-red eyes were filled with ridicule. "That demon arrow was refined using my blood essence, and fused with my true devil realm's incomparably famous heart lost soul poison. Now, every once in a while, you will lose a portion of your life, and after 6 hours, no matter what your cultivation is, you will die completely, and not even your soul will remain. Right now, it is slowly eating you, and you have no way of fighting back. If you're willing to open the door to the Wanhua realm for us, maybe we will consider letting you go. How about it? Are you willing to open the door for us?" The female Devil Cultivator laughed. "Don't even think about it." Mu Ying practically did not even think and directly shouted back. Hearing that, the female Devil Cultivator's smile froze. A trace of anger flashed past her blood-red eyes. "What did you say? Don't refuse a toast and drink a forfeit. Do you really think that we won't kill you? What's there to talk about with you, Devil Cultivator? Do you think we don't know the purpose of your trip to the Wanhua realm? You still want to enter the Wanhua realm? Since we're the gatekeepers, we will never submit to you. If you want to kill us, then kill us. But let me remind you, if we die, you will definitely not be able to live either." Mu Gue growled. As soon as these words fell, it was like a needle piercing into the hearts of the Devil Cultivator. All of the Devil Cultivator were enraged. The Horned Devil Cultivator was even more enraged, his eyes surging with killing intent. "Reckless, don't you know your own situation? Since that's the case, then go to hell, go to hell." With a furious roar, the Horned Devil Cultivator rushed forward. The dense devil chi was like a meteor falling from the sky, fiercely smashing towards the two of them. Seeing that, Mu Gue was about to take out his magic treasure to defend, but the surrounding Devil Cultivator seemed to know what Mu Gue was thinking and immediately rushed over, launching a torrential attack on him. The male tiger could not hold back the pack of wolves. Adding on Mu Ying's restraint, Mu Gue did not have time to defend. The Horned Devil Cultivator was already close. In almost an instant, The devil cultivators that were attacking Mu Gue immediately retreated, leaving the last attack to the horned devil cultivator. Mu Gue opened his eyes wide, looking at the incoming devil cultivator in shock. The magic treasure in his hand was held tightly by him. Muing shifted her gaze to Mu Gue. Her eyes were filled with gentleness, as though she did not care about this fatal blow at all. "We've done our best," Muing said softly. Hearing that, Mu Gue finally loosened his grip. He shifted his gaze to Muing. He nodded lightly and did not say anything else. At this point, there was nothing they could do. They had already fulfilled their duty as gatekeepers, so why should they force themselves? The horned devil cultivator did not hold back at all. His hand was like a meteor, striking straight for his heart. "After killing you, we will forcefully break open the door ourselves. The Wanhua realm is rich in resources. It will definitely belong to our true devil realm. You guys should just turn into dust on the ground and die completely." The sharp claws struck, and everything seemed to end in that instant. Don't! At this moment, a loud sound rang out. A terrifying power spread out in all directions of the giant tree, shaking it. Countless creatures were awakened and fled in panic. The inside and outside of the giant tree was in chaos. Devil Cultivator all turned to look. However, what they saw was not what they had expected. Mugue was not pierced through the heart by the horned Devil Cultivator's claw, but instead, a huge fist smashed the horned Devil Cultivator down from the branch, fiercely smashing it into the soil. What? All the Devil Cultivator-s were stunned. An incomparably huge devil bone giant had unknowingly appeared beside Mu Gue and Muing. The giant's eyes were cruel, domineering, and fierce as it stared at the devil cultivator-s. It smashed down on the horned devil cultivator with its fist, but it did not end its attack. Instead, it retracted its fist, raised its foot, and fiercely stomped on the horned devil cultivator. Donk! Yet another loud sound rang out. The giant tree shook again. "What is this?" the female devil cultivator asked in shock. "Devil Chi. A different type of devil Chi has appeared," another devil cultivator shouted. At this time, all the devil cultivator-s saw a person wearing a black cloak standing on the giant's shoulder. This person raised his head, and a pale face appeared in their line of sight. On this pale face, there was also a pair of terrifying blood-red eyes. The strong wind blew his cloak, and a slender, pitch-black sword was tightly gripped by him. The entire giant tree suddenly became silent. Chapter 561. Devil Cultivator? The female devil cultivator stared at Su Yun, who was standing on Devil Bone Giant's shoulder, and asked, "Are you from the true devil realm? May I ask which sex expert is it?" "I am not from the true devil realm." Su Yun held onto the death sword and shouted at the female devil cultivator. Hearing that, the female devil cultivator was startled. "But the devil chi on your body," Su Yun did not want to explain. He opened his blood-red eyes and stared coldly at the devil cultivator and shouted coldly, "Either you leave quickly or you fight me in blood. I will not make any other comments." He was about to see his parents, but he did not expect that a group of devil cultivator would appear halfway through. If not for them, he might have already entered the Wanhua realm and was already on his way to the Linglong Mountain. Thinking about it, Su Yun's heart surged with hatred, and his eyes that looked at the devil cultivator became even redder. What big words. If we don't fight with you, how will we have the face to return to the true devil realm in the future? The female devil cultivator snorted, her eyes spewing fire. "Set up the devil area true/formation. I want to personally destroy this wild devil cultivator's body, take out his soul, and refine my devil essence." Following the female devil cultivator's words, the surrounding devil cultivator immediately spread out, all of them moving like the wind. Their chi seemed to be berserk. They started to move quickly. The entire ancient tree seemed to be surrounded by a black storm. Its aura was astonishing. Dong! Just then, a muffled sound came from beneath Devil Bone Giant's feet, and a figure flew out in a sorry state. Looking closely, this person was the horned devil cultivator that was stepped on by Devil Bone Giant earlier. At this moment, He was in a sorry state. His clothes were in tatters, his skin was covered in cracks, and a large amount of devil chi leaked out. In fact, the strength of the horned devil cultivator's body was not low. But when he attacked Mugue just now, when the profound chi exploded, he was suddenly attacked by the devil bone giant, causing the profound chi in his body to be in a mess, causing more than half of his body to be destroyed, and he was severely injured. Thistles, don't act recklessly. First kill these two gatekeepers, break open the Wanhua Realm's gate, and then go take care of other matters. Don't forget our mission. This devil cultivator is very strong. Don't waste too much energy on him. The horned devil cultivator shouted in a hoarse and weak voice. But the female devil cultivator did not care at all. She continued to shout for the devil cultivator to set up a formation to deal with Su Yun, then turned her head and snorted at the horned devil cultivator. One-headed, are you still so naive? If you don't kill this person, do you think you can deal with these two gatekeepers? Don't be silly. This person is going against us to protect them. But we don't have much time left. The two of them must have informed the experts of the Wanhua realm. If we cannot open the door in a short period of time, then we won't have any more chances. Since that's the case, let's make our move quickly. The female devil cultivator shouted, then rushed towards Su Yun. From afar, she opened her mouth and spat out a blood-red arrow, piercing towards Su Yun. As the sharp arrows flew over, they exploded midway, turning into fine arrows that were as dense as raindrops, rustling as they flew. The slender arrow was so sharp that it seemed to be able to pierce through the air. However, the female devil cultivator naturally did not only have these methods. She actually retreated a few meters, swung her arms, and her 10 fingers that were as slender as swords fiercely pierced towards Su Yun. The 10 fingers actually extended infinitely, increasing the distance by more than 10 meters and directly pierced forward. She had targeted the 10 vital points of the main chi meridian on Su Yun's body. Once it was pierced, the profound chi in Su Yun's body would definitely be in chaos. Without needing to attack, his own body would be smashed into pieces by the turbulent profound chi, turning into meat chunks and completely dying. Facing the rain of attacks, Su Yun was naturally not afraid. He took out the 7th tier Imperial equipment and activated it. The profound strength in his body continuously surged towards the flag in his hand. In an instant, a thick chi cover was formed. Clang, 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 the flying arrows and the female devil cultivator's 10 fingers smashed onto the chi cover, causing to shake uncontrollably, causing ripples to surge outwards. However, the chi cover was completely unharmed, without the slightest bit of damage. The female devil cultivator's eyes widened as she looked on in shock. What? A large amount of smoke blew from the side and enveloped Su Yun, causing Su Yun's vision to be completely blocked. Not only that, it was as if he was isolated and all movements outside had disappeared. Su Yun did not dare to remove the Imperial equipment's barrier. His gaze swept across the pitch-black surroundings, only to see that there seemed to be a figure moving in the darkness. Was it those devil cultivator-s? Su Yun thought. Whiz. Just then, the devil chi above suddenly opened up, as if it had been forcefully torn apart by something. Following that, an incomparably huge and terrifying devil blade that seemed to be able to split the sky slashed down from above. Donk! An earth-shattering explosion sounded out. The 7th tier Imperial equipment suffered an unprecedented ferocious slash. The entire place started to shake violently. A large amount of profound chi fell from the barrier, as if the barrier could collapse at any time. Was this the formation that the devil cultivator had used? It was indeed not a small matter. Su Yun's eyes congealed. How could he dare to hesitate at all? With a swing of his arm, the profound chi circulated crazily. The runes on his arm flickered nonstop, and rays of light broke through the dense devil chi, breaking through the dense leaves and branches, and shot straight into the sky. The sky darkened, and the sunlight that shone on the towering tree disappeared without a trace. The dark clouds above the tree quickly rotated, and then a strange light fell towards the shuttle. Devil chi, what a dense devil chi! The horned devil cultivator shouted loudly. The female devil cultivator ignored him and continued to urge the other devil cultivator to attack Su Yun, who was surrounded by the devil chi. One after another, the devil slash descended from above, as if a peerless giant devil was standing outside the sky, launching an apocalyptic attack at Su Yun. The profound chi in Su Yun's body was quickly consumed. Like a leaking balloon, the 7th-tier Imperial equipment was already in danger and could collapse at any time. But in that moment of life and death, all 7 devil-bone giants appeared, standing around the giant tree. Those pairs of bloody eyes that were like the sun stared fiercely at the horned devil cultivator and the others. The tyrannical devil chi enveloped the world, causing the entire tree to tremble. The female devil cultivator, the horned devil cultivator, and the others were all shocked by the sudden appearance of the giant. Feeling the aura emitted from the devil-bone giant, all of the devil cultivators' hearts jumped, and their souls were intimidated. This aura is so familiar. It seems to be Lord Enmo's aura. It's Lord Enmo's aura. The horned devil cultivator seemed to have sensed something, and as if he had just woken up from a dream, he let out a heart-wrenching roar. What? Lord Enmo? This is impossible. Lord Enmo has already died. This is impossible. The female devil cultivator shouted at him. We must retreat immediately. The horned devil cultivator calmed down, his face frighteningly pale. No way. The female devil cultivator clenched her teeth and said angrily, Since things have come to this, we no longer have a reason to retreat. No matter who he is, I will kill him. With that, the female devil cultivator took out a blood-red needle and threw it into the air. The blood needles flew through the air and split into dozens of them, striking into the heads of the other devil cultivator like lightning. In the blink of an eye, the devil chi around the devil cultivator increased crazily, and in a short while, the cultivation of each of the devil cultivator had nearly doubled. These were all existences above the sky spirit master. Although Su Yun did not know their specific cultivation levels at that moment, he understood that these fellows' cultivation levels had already far surpassed his own. Even if he used the 7 devil-bone giant it would still be very difficult to defeat them. No matter who you are, today, you must be used by me to feed the demon essence. No one can save you. The female devil cultivator roared. All the devil cultivator extended their palms and attacked Su Yun crazily. When every devil cultivator's palm struck out again, a gigantic mountain flew out and smashed toward Su Yun. Every mountain was pitch black and contained sharp bones and boiling hot blood inside, like a bomb that was as big as a mountain. Dong, dong, dong. The 7 giants smashed through the leaves and rushed over, surrounding Su Yun in the middle. When the black mountains smashed onto their bodies, they immediately released one explosion after another, causing boiling blood to spurt out from the mountains, splashing onto the giants' bodies. The giant was dyed red with blood, and white smoke billowed out. However, it remained unmoving and stood firm. Su Yun's mind instructs, in a second, was given, the order was transmitted. The 7 giants began to move. They withstood the attacks from all directions, facing the devil cultivator that were quickly revolving around the devil chi, their huge fists smashed towards them. Facing such a terrifying attack, the devil cultivator were all alarmed and hastily dodged. One of the devil cultivator was unable to dodge in time and was directly punched to the ground. The giant's power caused his skin to split open and his profound chi to collapse. Seeing the miserable state of the devil cultivator, the rest of the devil cultivator felt their scalps go numb. However, although the giant was strong, it was not to the point where they did not even have the ability to fight. Ancient devil arts. One of the devil cultivator shouted in a low voice, chanting incantations that were difficult to pronounce. The devil chi around his body quickly arranged itself, transforming into a gigantic seal word that floated in the air. His hands danced quickly, as though he was accumulating some profound chi. After a few breaths, The devil cultivator's hands pushed forward, and the gigantic seal word shot towards one of the devil bone giant-s like lightning, directly smashing into its chest. In the blink of an eye, the devil bone giant's movement slowed down. Not only its speed, even its aura, strength, and so on had dropped rapidly, as though it had been forcefully pulled down by countless levels. Compared to before, its strength was like the difference between heaven and earth. What? Seeing that, Su Yun frowned. Ancient devil arts. Ancient devil arts. The other devil cultivator-s all shouted loudly, activating this strange devil art. Looking at their imposing manner, it was obvious that they wanted to use this miraculous devil art to restrict all of the devil bone giantess. The situation was not good. Su Yun held onto the death's sword tightly, staring at one of the devil cultivator-s, planning to personally rush over and kill it. Although he was able to fight against these devil cultivator-s, he was completely relying on the strength of these devil bone giantess. Once the giant's power was restricted, with his cultivation that was not even at the Sky Spirit Master, it would be difficult for him to gain an advantage against these devil cultivator-s. At this point, there was no other choice. Wanhua Heart, Cleansing Incantation. At this moment, a loud shout came from the door. Chapter 562. This voice. It was Mu Gui's? Su Yun turned his head to look, only to see that Mu Gui and Mu Ying had already activated their profound strength, and were using profound technique to support Su Yun. Mu Gui's hands released an emerald green light. Following that, a bit of green light flew out and struck one of the devil bone giant's body. In an instant, the surface of the devil bone giant's huge body was covered with a layer of strange vines. These vines were like armor that spread across the vast body, entangling with each other, densely packed. When these vine-like armors wrapped around the giant's body, the giant's speed, strength, and even its own profound chi changed once again. They grew at an astonishing speed, like wild grass after the rain. Not only that, the blood-red pupils of these giants even had specks of green light. It was extremely magical. The giant's strength had recovered. Not only had it recovered, it was even stronger than before. Mu Gui and Mu Ying's cultivation was higher than these devil cultivator-s. If Mu Ying had not been hit by the hidden arrow, the two of them would not have been forced into such a state. Now that the two of them had joined hands and used such a mystical and mysterious technique on a giant, how could the devil cultivator-s seal it? One of the giant's strength increased explosively and immediately let out an angry roar towards the sky. The angry roar resounded through the sky, and then, with an unparalleled might that covered the sky, it smashed towards one of the devil cultivator-s who was still sealing the profound technique. The power of the giant's fist was like a torrential river. It was unstoppable. The devil cultivator was shocked and anxiously dodged. But the giant's fist was just too big. When the devil cultivator hastily dodged the fierce fist, on the other side, its other hand had already opened up into a palm and grabbed towards this direction. This palm seemed to be able to support the heavens and earth. It was so big that all the leaves and branches were broken, and the strong palm wind was able to blow a person to pieces. The devil cultivator was immediately caught by the palm, and then the huge palm clenched tightly, crazily crushing the devil cultivator. Ah! The devil cultivator let out a mournful scream. Every sound was soul-stirring. His voice was hysterical, causing those who heard it to feel their scalps splitting, and the pain was unbearable. A large amount of devil chi seeped out from the gigantic white hand. Following that, the voice of the devil cultivator gradually faded, and very quickly, there was no more sound. A devil cultivator died, miserably, just like that. Seeing this, the female devil cultivator and the horned devil cultivator were extremely shocked. Woo! The giant that was sealed by the devil cultivator broke free from its restraints and regained its strength. The two devil bone giants opened their huge mouths and sucked in the devil chi that leaked out from the devil cultivator's body. The devil chi was like many small snakes that swarmed into their mouths. In a short while, all the devil chi was sucked dry. After the devil cultivator died, The devil essence exploded, but these two magic tools can actually absorb the devil essence. These must be Lord Enmo's magic tools. The horned devil cultivator screamed. Enmo, could it be that this wild devil is related to Lord Enmo? The female devil cultivator's heart turned sinister. Thinking about the Enmo who had killed his way up to the god realm, she panicked. It had to be known that Enmo was a supreme existence in the true devil realm, a legendary figure. Even though he was already dead in the true devil realm, his legend was still being spread everywhere. His grave was spread throughout the entire true devil realm. No matter which devil it was, before passing by Lord Enmo's grave, they had to kowtow seriously. If not for his contribution, the devil sect would have been destroyed, and once the devil sect was destroyed, the gates of the true devil realm would open. And at that time, not to mention those immortal gods, even people from other realms would be able to enter and leave the true devil realm at will. The two devil bone giantess seemed to have gone mad as they attacked the devil cultivator-s who were supporting the sealing technique. They received Su Yun's orders to abandon the female devil cultivator and the horned devil cultivator, and only grab the devil cultivator-s who had used the sealing technique to attack. Since the battle has already begun, there's no room for redemption. The horned devil cultivator forced himself to calm down. He raised his head to look at Su Yun, who was standing on the branch, and growled, "Kill that wild devil cultivator first. Kill him, and these magic tools will break on their own." With that, he urged his broken body to rush towards Su Yun. "Do two. You attack from the left, I will attack from the right." Activating these magic tools requires a large amount of profound chi. There are 7 magic tools here. I'm afraid he doesn't have much profound strength left. He definitely won't be able to block our attacks. The female devil cultivator shouted. She then took a step forward. Devil chi surged, and like a ferocious beast, she charged towards Su Yun. "All right," the horned devil cultivator bellowed. His body suddenly became parallel to the ground. The horn on his head aimed at Su Yun. His entire body suddenly exploded, and with a speed that seemed to teleport, he smashed towards Su Yun. Fast. Too fast. This definitely surpassed the speed of light. Even if Su Yun pushed the divine wind sword technique to its limits, he would still be slower than this speed. The horned devil cultivator's horn directly pierced through Su Yun's chest, and his entire body flew out, smashing into dozens of gigantic tree branches that were close to 5 meters in diameter, and then fell to the ground, smashing into the flower garden, causing a large amount of blood to spill out from the sky. When Su Yun was attacked, the 7 devil bone giantess immediately trembled. The giant could not even walk steadily, let alone attack the other party. Not good. He has suffered an attack. The profound chi and command are cut off from the magic tools. Once he dies, the magic tools will stop activating, and we will be finished. Mu Gui exclaimed. "Protect Su Yun first," Mu Ying said anxiously. "But what about you? You are severely injured right now, so if they attack you, you won't even have the ability to protect yourself." Mu Gui clenched his teeth and said, "Don't worry about me. Quick, Mu Gui, once Su Yun dies, we will all die. Do you want me to die alone, or do you want everyone to die together?" Mu Ying shouted anxiously. Hearing that, Mu Gui's expression was extremely pained, but as matters stood, he had no other choice. He immediately abandoned Mu Ying, gathered all his strength, and rushed towards Su Yun. "Myriad vines," Mu Gui shouted. The ground immediately trembled, and a large number of vines that were as thick as pythons broke out from the ground, binding towards the 2 devil cultivators south that were close to Su Yun. The horned devil cultivator's body was tightly bound. He had suffered an attack earlier and was severely injured, so his current fighting strength was not strong. Facing these vines, it was actually difficult for him to struggle free. On the other hand, the female devil cultivator was extremely powerful. With a low growl, her arms suddenly swelled up and forcefully tore off the thick vines. "Don't worry about me. Kill that person first. As long as he dies, the magic tool will stop working, and these 2 gatekeepers will not be able to escape death. At that time, the gate to the Wanhua realm will be under our control." The horned devil cultivator shouted. The female devil cultivator nodded. her eyes filled with killing intent as she rushed towards Su Yun, who was struggling to stand up. Facing the female devil cultivator who was brimming with killing intent, Su Yun took a deep breath, stared at the death sword in his hand, and then looked at the female devil cultivator. Whiz! The sword sheath behind him flashed with a white light. Following that, a flash of lightning struck towards the female devil cultivator. The sudden change caused the female devil cultivator to be extremely shocked. She anxiously retreated, not daring to come into contact with the white light. The white light spun in the air and returned to Su Yun's side. When the light disappeared, a lady dressed in a white dress with a face that could topple cities stood beside him. She had black eyebrows and a jade-like face. Her figure was graceful and very beautiful, but at the moment, her small face was filled with seriousness. "Qingyu, why did you come out?" Su Yun said weakly. The wound on his chest was still bleeding, but the blood was all pitch black. "You're about to die, and I'm still not coming out?" Ling Qingyu said with resentment. "I'm not dead yet." Su Yun laughed bitterly. "Cut the crap. This devil cultivator is very strong. Even though my cultivation has advanced by leaps and bounds in this period of time, I'm still not her match." Ling Qingyu raised his hand, his palm facing Su Yun, and said, "Unless it's absolutely necessary, do not recklessly use the power of the death sword. Furthermore, you are currently heavily injured and cannot withstand the power of the death sword. I can only rely on this sword of mine." Su Yun nodded his head. Without hesitation, he placed the death sword back into the sword sheath, then raised his hand and extended it towards the center of his palm. "So, you have a helper?" The female devil cultivator secretly snorted. She sized Ling Qingyu up. Ling Qingyu did not have any magic treasure on her. Her cultivation was clearly seen by the other party. When she realized that Ling Qingyu did not even have the cultivation of the Sky Spirit Master, the female devil cultivator immediately revealed a disdainful smile. "But with this kind of cultivation? You want to contend against me with just this? You are simply courting death. All of you will become food for my devil essence." The female devil cultivator growled and attacked again. She did not rush towards Su Yun, but attacked Ling Qingyu. From her point of view, there must be a reason for Ling Qingyu's appearance. But just as she got close to Su Yun and Ling Qingyu, a strange scorching heat instantly surrounded her. Before she could even react to what was going on, the female devil cultivator's body was pierced with a few large holes. The intense pain caused her body to tremble a few times. Following that, the female devil cultivator's body was suffused with a scorching white flame. "Ah!" The female devil cultivator screamed in pain. She anxiously retreated and activated the profound strength to extinguish the flames on her body. The flames were extremely tenacious, and only after a long while did they extinguish. She anxiously raised her head to look, only to see that in front of Su Yun, there were actually hundreds of flying swords circling around. These flying swords were all invisible and floating in front of him. It turned out that when Su Yun landed, he had secretly taken out the Desolator and the Tribulation Fire Sword and hid them at the side, waiting for the two devil cultivators to attack him. "What is this?" The female devil cultivator shouted in shock. "Something that can kill you." Su Yun snorted, then raised his hand and directly pulled out the contracted sword from Ling Qingyu's palm. When the white whip sword was released, a white light that cut through the darkness immediately appeared around the ancient tree that was enveloped by the devil chi. Taking advantage of the fact that the female devil cultivator had eaten Desolator and Qi Yang's attacks, Su Yun launched another attack, slashing towards her. The contracted sword was like a raging dragon as it charged forward, the sword's body glowing with light. It was extremely mysterious. The female devil cultivator did not know the depth of the sword, so she did not dare to take it head-on. She could only retreat, dodging left and right. Seeing that, Su Yun immediately activated the Divine Wind Sword technique, wanting to use his speed to control the contracted sword to suppress the female devil cultivator. But before he could completely activate his sword technique, he felt dizzy and almost fainted. Seeing that, Ling Qingyu, who was at the side, anxiously supported him. Idiot, your injuries are extremely severe, and you're still trying so hard. Don't you know that you don't have much profound qi left in your body? Hurry up and think a way to escape. Don't fight anymore. Ling Qingyu said anxiously. No, this is the only way to enter the Wanhua realm. If I cannot go to the Wanhua realm, what will happen to my parents? Su Yun forced himself to remain unconscious and said weakly, You're such an idiot. If you stay in the Green Mountains, you won't have to worry about firewood. Your parents aren't dead. Are you afraid that you won't be able to see your parents? Ling Qingyu was so angry that she did not care if Su Yun was willing or not, and immediately carried him on her back to run. But now that the contracted sword was taken out, her cultivation was gone, so where could she run to with Su Yun? Chapter 563. Qingyu, what are you doing? It's impossible for us to escape. Since that's the case, we might as well go all out. Maybe we'll have a chance of survival. Su Yun raised his head and said weakly to Ling Qingyu, What are you going to use to fight? Ling Qingyu opened her eyes wide and looked at him seriously. Death Sword. Do you think your current body can still withstand the power of the Death Sword? Other than that, we have no other choice. The other party's cultivation is much stronger than ours. Even if we take away the contracted sword, we will not be able to escape. The only thing we can rely on now, other than this Death Sword, are the two experts from the Wanhua realm. Their strength is not simple. If we work together, we still have a chance of survival. But that person is heavily injured, and the other person has no time to care about you. Even if you join hands, how can you possibly repel these true Devil Realm experts? I didn't say we were going to repel them. Su Yun smiled slightly. All we need to do is defend. Defense? Ling Qingyu was startled for a moment, then suddenly understood something and said in shock, You mean to say, you are waiting for help from the Wanhua realm? This is the gate to the Wanhua realm. If this place is attacked, how can the people of the Wanhua realm not have any news? As long as we hold on for a while longer, the reinforcements from the Wanhua realm will definitely arrive, and at that time, these devil cultivator will not be a problem. But Ling Qingyu opened his mouth, wanting to say something. But at this time, the female devil cultivator had already rushed over. You are already dead after eating the horn of a single head. Don't force yourself. Quickly submit to my claws. The female devil cultivator shouted loudly, her sharp claws attacking. Her devil power was like a torrential river pouring down in torrents. Su Yun's eyes flashed with a trace of ruthlessness. He pulled out the death sword and struck horizontally with one hand, coincidentally slashing at the female devil cultivator's palm. Then with a wave of his left arm, the contracted sword attacked. The female devil cultivator opened her mouth and let out a sharp and ear-piercing cry, causing a circle of sound waves to spread out. The incoming contracted sword was blasted away by this strange sound. The female devil cultivator took advantage of the situation and struck Su Yun's shoulder. 5 distinct scars appeared, exposing Su Yun's shoulder bone. The intense pain caused him to break out in a cold sweat. His consciousness was on the verge of collapse, as if he would faint at any moment. However, the more it was so, the more he couldn't relax. Once he fainted, he would never wake up again. Tribulation flame. In this moment of danger, Su Yun roared. Several waves of sword chi emerged from the back of the female devil cultivator. The terrifying sword intent that could pierce one's skin and bones instantly wrapped around her. The female devil cultivator's face changed. She anxiously retreated, only to see hundreds of swords flying over, surrounding her and slashing continuously. The female devil cultivator crazily waved her claws, bombarding the sharp sword that was surrounding her. The demonic energy around her body mixed with the sword intent of the desolator and the tribulation fire, making it difficult to distinguish them. The attack of the mother sword and the subordinate sword required the activation of the profound chi, and Su Yun was already at the end of his tether. It was already difficult for the 7 devil bone giant S to attack, and they could only stand in place to defend, not to mention the subordinate swords. The swords surrounding the female devil cultivator were very fast, but their speed and power had slowed down reducing the pressure on the female devil cultivator. Seeing Su Yun gasping for breath and continuously swallowing pills, the female devil cultivator immediately laughed out loud. Ah! I've already said it before, you can't hold on any longer. Why are you still so stubborn? Hurry up and give in. With that said, he directly knocked away the densely packed flying swords in front of him and rushed towards Su Yun. Very good. Seeing the female devil cultivator rushing towards him. Not only was Su Yun not nervous, a trace of success flashed past his eyes. He suddenly raised his head, his eyes suddenly turning red. He raised his death sword and fiercely smashed towards the female devil cultivator. The female devil cultivator was well aware of Su Yun's current state. Facing this attack, she did not take it to heart, and, compared to him, she did not have much strength left. However, this sword strike was extraordinarily fast. It was as if a ray of light had passed by in front of his eyes, so fast that no one could keep up with it. It was completed in an instant, and following that, a terrifying evil force exploded out. This was not the sword force that a person at the end of his tether should have. The female devil cultivator's heart turned cold. Before she could react, she felt a pain in her chest. Her entire right arm had been cut open from the left side of her abdomen. Her right arm was broken. Her devil blood gushed out crazily, and she was also chopped to the ground. Ah! The female devil cultivator cried out in pain. She activated some magic treasure, and her entire body flashed 100 meters away. She fell to the ground, her body almost split into two halves. She was already gasping for air. It was unknown how many chi meridians in her body had been broken. When the sword struck out, Su Yun seemed to have changed into a different person. His entire body was filled with a ruthless chi. His pale face had also regained its color, but a strange pitch-black pattern started to climb up the side of his face. This was the power of the death sword. Su Yun, quickly stop. Ling Qing, you shouted. You can't even withstand this power. Quickly stop. If this continues, the injuries on your body will only get worse and worse, and in the end, you will break and die. Now is the chance. If we kill her, the pressure on us will lessen. Su Yun opened his red eyes and walked towards the female devil cultivator with shaky steps, as though he wanted to end the female devil cultivator's life. Seeing Su Yun walking over step by step, the female devil cultivator's entire body immediately trembled. Her face was terrifyingly pale. Her eyes were filled with fear. She wanted to activate the profound chi to escape, but just as she was about to activate it, her entire body felt an intense pain. The profound chi directly overflowed from the broken chi meridian, striking the other organs in her body. The pain almost made her faint. She could not imagine that Su Yun's sword would directly cripple her. She could not imagine just how terrifying this sword that had unleashed all of its power was. One-headed, save me. One-headed, come and save me. Finally, the female devil cultivator could not hold on any longer. She used her last bit of strength and shouted hysterically. But at that moment, the rest of the devil cultivator S were blocked by the 7 devil bone giantess, and the horned devil cultivator himself was blocked by Mu Gue, so he had no time to care about her. Hearing that, the horned devil cultivator wanted to shake off Mu Gue to help the female devil cultivator. But Mu Gue also knew the importance of this moment and immediately bit onto the horned devil cultivator. The horned devil cultivator's strength was not weak, but after eating the devil bone giant's attack, the profound chi in his body became chaotic, causing him to be severely injured. At this moment, it was already extremely difficult for him to block Mu Gue, let alone save the female devil cultivator. Su Yun swayed his body as he walked forward step by step. His eyes were filled with killing intent, but the heart in his body was beating slower and slower. The female devil cultivator opened her eyes wide as she looked at Su Yun, who was approaching her in fear. At this moment, she no longer had the strength to resist. Su Yun raised the death sword that was filled with dense evil force and stared coldly at the female devil cultivator. He was about to activate the power of the death sword and end her life with a raise of his blade. But in that moment of life and death, Su Yun's left hand loosened, and the contracted victory sword that he was holding tightly suddenly disappeared. Following that, a cold light flashed past and instantly cut off his right wrist. The death sword and his wrist fell from the sky at the same time. The attack stopped. Su Yun was startled. The female devil cultivator was even more surprised. She looked at the cold light in shock, only to see that it was Ling Qingyu who was standing beside Su Yun. She kept her own sword of origin, then released a sharp sword chi with one hand. After cutting off Su Yun's right wrist, with lightning speed, she slashed towards the female devil cultivator's head. This speed was not inferior to Su Yun, who was using the divine wind sword technique with all his might. Before the female devil cultivator could even react, her head was separated from her body. Devil blood spurted out. Her head spun a few times in the air and then heavily fell to the ground. The devil cultivator died, and her soul flew out. But Ling Qingyu did not care about the soul at all. She immediately removed the sword chi and supported Su Yun, who had fallen to the ground and was completely unconscious. She had forcefully cut off Su Yun's wrist, causing his connection with the death sword to be cut off, cutting off the bridge of power between the death sword and him. Without the power of the death sword, Su Yun was naturally unable to hold on. However, this was the best result. If Su Yun was allowed to use the power of the death sword again, it would probably cause great damage to his body. A broken wrist could still be repaired, and it would not affect him much, but if his body was damaged, especially if there was a problem with the spirit core and chi meridian, it would have a huge impact. With the death of the female devil cultivator, the battle on Su Yun's side had also ended. However, Su Yun had also fainted from overexertion and did not have any fighting strength. However, this was the best outcome. Damn it! When the horned devil cultivator saw that the female devil cultivator had been killed, he was immediately enraged. With a roar, his damaged body actually released circles of terrifying red light, and a large amount of devil chi surged over from all directions like bugs, gathering inside his body. Especially the dead female devil cultivator. Her 3 souls and 7 spirits also seemed to have received the call of the horned devil cultivator, directly sticking to his chest and then burrowing into it. In that moment, the horned devil cultivator's aura surged, and a domineering and berserk aura that caused people to tremble rose up. Demonization. Mu Gui's face changed. He immediately rushed forward. Scram! The one-headed devil cultivator suddenly swung his arm, fiercely smashing towards Mu Gui. The thick and solid arm smashed onto Mu Gui's shoulder, causing him to fall from the sky. With a dong sound, he smashed a huge crater on the ground. This is bad. I never thought that this devil cultivator would actually be able to control the demonization. Ling Qingyu, who was supporting Su Yun, said with an ugly expression, Mu Gui, Su Yun, quickly run. Muing clenched her teeth and dragged her wounded body towards them. Everyone present understood the power of the demonization. It was a powerful technique that the devil cultivator could use to completely release his life force. Once it was used, the devil cultivator would have no way out, but they would be able to obtain strength that surpassed their limits for a short period of time. This was a suicidal, profound skill that was released by the obsession in the demon's heart. Unless it was absolutely necessary, no devil cultivator would use such a move. All of you will accompany me in death. The horned devil cultivator roared. His voice was like thunder, resounding through the clouds. The entire ancient tree was already wrapped in an extremely dense devil chi. This place was like the apocalypse. Whiz! Just at this moment, a green light suddenly came from the side, and with lightning speed, it instantly struck the horned devil cultivator's body. The green light wrapped around him, and in an instant, it surrounded him tightly. The horned devil cultivator was startled, but to his surprise, he discovered that the demonization power he had activated was retreating at a terrifying rate. Chapter 564. This is... Mu Gui was startled. He anxiously looked towards the location of the green light, only to see that the light was actually coming from the entrance of the Wanhua realm. At this moment, the door opened, and a slim figure appeared at the door. Ling Qingyu looked over, only to see a large number of figures rushing out from the door, All of them had powerful auras. Their strength was tyrannical. When they made their move, the ground around the ancient tree immediately became restless. Countless trees that reached the sky rose from the ground, and a large number of thick vines flew out. These branches and vines were like living creatures, piercing through the devil cultivator. Following that, a large number of vines wrapped around the horned devil cultivator, tying him up like a dumpling. The horned devil cultivator immediately fell to the ground. No matter how he activated the profound strength, he was unable to break free from the suppression. Seeing that, Mu Ge and Mu Ying were overjoyed. They quickly walked over. The two of them kneeled in front of the slim figure that walked out from the door and shouted, "Greetings, Realm Lord." "Yes." The slim figure nodded slightly, her watery eyes landing on the arrow wound on Mu Ying's shoulder. The wound there had already rotted. Mu Ying's entire arm was almost crippled, and she did not even have the slightest feeling. The slim figure gently bent over, extended her slender white hand, and slowly caressed Mu Ying's wound. A little green membrane formed, covering all the rotten parts. Mu Ying slightly closed her eyes, and her face that was distorted from the pain eased up a lot. "Take her down and heal her. Don't wait for the poison to spread to her heart. At that time, I'm afraid we'll have to use spirit wood spring water to heal her." The slim figure said softly. "Yes, Realm Lord." The few spirit cultivators behind cupped their fists, then brought Mu Ying into the big door and disappeared into the light. Mu Gue sat down cross-legged and recuperated by himself. The slim figure was not in a hurry to care about Mu Gue, but quickly walked towards Ling Qingyu and the rest. Supreme expert, quickly save him, save him." Seeing the mysterious jade figure in front of him that was glowing with light, Ling Qingyu seemed to have grabbed onto a life-saving straw and shouted anxiously. The graceful figure was not in a hurry to reply Ling Qingyu, but turned back to look at Mu Gue. Mu Gue immediately cupped his fists and said, "Realm Lord, the people of the true devil realm are attacking. If not for the two of them risking their lives to help, I am afraid that the gate would have already been occupied by the people of the true devil realm, and they were injured because of us. I hope that Realm Lord can help and save Su Yun." "All right, although this Su Yun is a devil cultivator, he is still a student of the Master Subhoodie." "Oh." When the slim figure heard this, her slender and perfect eyebrows twitched slightly. Then, she nodded and walked over. "Please lay him flat on the ground," the slim figure said softly. "All right." Ling Qingyu nodded and immediately placed Su Yun on the ground. The graceful figure bent down and gently placed one hand on Su Yun's chest. She closed her eyes and activated the profound strength, causing a light green halo to be released from her hand. This halo quickly covered Su Yun's entire body. A moment later, the slim figure raised her hand and frowned slightly. "His injuries are much worse than Mu Ying's, or perhaps they can't be called injuries, but rather dried up. His body seems to have been attached to an extremely strong, profound strength, causing his body to be injured, and the situation is very bad." The slim figure said softly. "That's right." Ling Qingyu nodded her head lightly. A trace of helplessness and sorrow flashed past her eyes. "He is only in existence at the 8th stage of the Spirit Master. He does not even have a Sky Spirit Master. Yet he wants to fight against those Devil Cultivator. How can he have a chance of winning? In order to defeat those Devil Cultivator, he had no choice but to activate a magic treasure that he could not control, causing his body to be injured. If I had not stopped him in time, the situation would have been even worse than it is now. Is that so?" The slim figure turned to look at Mu Gue and asked softly, "Why is this person here?" "He wants to enter the Wanhua realm. This subordinate sees that he is sincere, and he promised to follow the rules of my Wanhua realm. So I allowed him to enter, but I never thought that at this juncture there would be people from the true devil realm invading." Mu Gue said, "In that case, my Wanhua realm owes this person a favor." The slim figure thought for a moment, then waved her hand and said, "Quickly bring these two into the world tree and recuperate." "Yes, sir." With that, a few spirit cultivators walked over and led Ling Qingyu to carry Su Yun towards the big door. After everyone had left, the slim figure walked towards the horned devil cultivator. Amongst the devil cultivator that had invaded this place, only this person did not die. The others were all killed by the Wanhua realm's iron-blooded methods. Looking at the single-horned devil cultivator that was like a dumpling, the slim figure gently raised her hand, and with a few light taps, the lustrous vines that were wrapped around the single-horned devil cultivator dissipated. The single-horned devil cultivator did not have any restraints. He anxiously crawled up from the ground and activated the profound chi, wanting to escape, but just as his feet were half an inch away from the ground, a ray of light shot out and struck his knee, cutting off the lower half of his knee, causing devil blood to gush out like a fountain. The single-horned devil cultivator cried out in pain. He fell from the sky and fell to the ground, finding it difficult to get up again. If you continue to run, it won't be your legs that will be chopped off, but your head, the slim figure said expressionlessly. The single-horned devil cultivator groaned twice, but did not dare to make sound. With just a simple exchange, he knew the disparity in strength between him and this person. The slim figure circled around the single-horned devil cultivator. A pair of watery eyes that were as moist as the stars swept across his body, and then asked, "Who sent you here to disturb my Wanhua realm's gate?" "I don't know." The single-horned devil cultivator coldly snorted. "If you say it, I will let you go. If you don't say it, then die here. My world tree will produce Wanhua fruit in another year and is lacking fertilizer. I don't mind using your soul and body as fertilizer for the world tree to absorb." The slim figure said, "You." The single-horned devil cultivator opened his eyes wide. Looking at the slim and graceful figure in shock, he said in shock, "Rumor has it that everyone in the Wanhua realm has a heart like a bodhisattva and will not easily kill. How would you dare to do such a thing?" That was the Wanhua realm of the past, and at that time, the people of the Wanhua realm were all kind-hearted, simple, and pure. And at that time, the Wanhua realm was truly a paradise on earth, but now it's different. The Wanhua realm has been completely tainted by you filthy things, and the people of the Wanhua realm naturally cannot be the same as before. If that is the case, they will only be ruthlessly ravaged by you. And the Wanhua realm will also be completely destroyed. So, for the sake of the Wanhua realm, there are some things that I have to do, even if it goes against common sense. The words spoken by the slim figure were sonorous and firm, as if nothing could change her determination. The horned devil cultivator stared at her in a daze, and only spoke after a long while. "You just said, is it true that you will let me go? I am the realm lord, and my words carry weight. How can I be a child's play? Don't compare me to you devil cultivator-s who are fickle." The slim figure said. The horned devil cultivator was silent for a moment, then said, "The one who sent us here is the sect master of the devil sect. Kill him, capture his soul, and use it to feed the world tree." The slim figure turned around and walked towards the door. Her voice was cold without a trace of hesitation. The horned devil cultivator immediately panicked and shouted, "Realm Lord, what are you doing? Didn't I say it already? You should have let me go. You're not telling the truth, and you're still trying to deceive me. How can I let you go?" The slim figure coldly snorted, pointing at the 7 devil-bone giant-s standing around the ancient tree. She said, "These magic tools are filled with Enmo's chi. They must be Enmo's magic tools. You should know what Enmo's position in the devil sect is. He is revered by countless of devil cultivator-s, and Enmo is buried in the ultimate martial world. No matter who it is, they have to treat Enmo's successor with respect. Even if the other party is an enemy of the devil sect, they have to report it to the devil sect immediately. And not only did you not do so, you continued to attack that young man called Su Yun, which is enough to show that you are not from the devil sect, and you're still trying to deceive me. Kill him." "Yes, sir." The few spirit cultivator-s behind all activated their profound chi, and all of them rushed towards the horned devil cultivator with resentment. Seeing that, the horned devil cultivator was so scared that his entire body trembled. He clenched his teeth, lowered his head, and finally screamed, I'll say, then quickly tell the truth." This realm lord will only give you one last chance. The slim figure said indifferently. The horned devil cultivator laid on the ground and cried out in pain. It's the Dark Demon Palace. We are from the Dark Demon Palace. It was our Hall Master's idea to snatch the Wanhua Realm Gate. He was the one who told us to do it. Squire? The slim figure frowned. This is just an entrance to the Wanhua Realm. Why does the squire want you to seize this place? Furthermore, even if you seize the right to enter this door, what can you do? Our Wanhua Realm will definitely be able to take it back. Although your Dark Demon Palace is not bad. In front of my Wanhua Realm, you are just an ant on the ground. You can crush it as you please. Aren't you doing this in vain? After obtaining the door, as long as we have the right to even an incense stick of time, it will be enough. Master Retainer has a secret technique that can replicate this door, and our main mission is to replicate this door that leads to the Wanhua Realm. Once we can replicate this door, we can freely enter and exit the Wanhua Realm. And at that time, Master Retainer can incite the other powers of the True Devil Realm to invade the Wanhua Realm. At that time, all of the resources in the Wanhua Realm will belong to my True Devil Realm. The Horned Devil Cultivator said. With that said, the people of Wanhua Realm felt their hearts jump, and they were incomparably terrified. The slim figure stood in place for a long time. In the end, her watery eyes shifted to the 7 devil-bone giantess that were surrounding the giant tree. The giants stood there quietly like statues. After an unknown amount of time, the bodies of the giants slowly turned into sand and were blown away by the wind. In the end, they disappeared from the world. Looks like the Wanhua Realm is going to have a storm, the slim figure muttered softly. Chapter 565. In a daze, an intoxicating fragrance entered his nose and seeped into his body, as though it was glued to his spirit and surrounded his soul, bringing back Su Yun, who was in a daze. He slowly opened his eyes, and a gentle light entered his eyes. As he slowly opened his eyes, the scenery around him was captured by him. It was a room with simple decorations, but it was surrounded by green leaves. There was a table and a simple dressing table in the room, and the window was very big, but it did not look like it was man-made, but more like it was naturally formed. Although the window was square, the edges were not flat, and not only that, a large number of vines extended into the window from the outside, wrapping around the window and climbing inside, while the walls of the room also grew branches and leaves, blooming with flowers and fruits. This place did not look like a room, but more like a huge tree hole. The smell in the air was very pleasant, and Su Yun could not help but take a few more breaths. You're awake? At this moment, a soft voice that sounded like the sounds of nature drifted into his ears from the side. Su Yun followed the voice and looked up, only to see a lady dressed in emerald green clothes with leaf patterns standing by the side of the bed. Her hands were held together, her graceful figure standing there gracefully, her pair of watery eyes looking at him peacefully. With just a glance, one would feel dizzy. It was a strange feeling that made one's heart thump. The lady's appearance was extremely beautiful, with a kind of refined innocence. Su Yun had never seen such a pure lady before. She seemed to be nature's most successful masterpiece. Huairomu Yu was already beautiful enough. Her beauty could evoke the most uncontrollable desire in men's hearts towards women. Her beauty was the same, but she was stronger than Huairomu Yu, and that was her temperament. Huairomu Yu's temperament was gentle and quiet, but her temperament was pure and holy, and in terms of temperament, her purity and holiness far surpassed Huairomu Yu's gentleness and tranquility. Who are you? Looking at the lady with bright eyes and white teeth in front of him, Su Yun calmed himself down and asked, I'm the owner of this place. The lady said softly, The owner of this place? Su Yun looked around, then looked at the lady in front of him. In truth, regardless of whether it was the decoration of the house or the lady's dressing, they were not considered high quality, but such a mystical house and such a beautiful lady more or less caused his heart to be slightly shocked. Where am I? Wanhua Realm. The lady walked to the table and took out a wooden cup. She poured out some nectar from a gourd and handed it over to Su Yun. Su-yin did not borrow it and revealed a look of astonishment. Wan Hua Realm, you were severely injured by the people of the true devil realm and were rescued by us for treatment. It's already been 73 days. Now that you're awake, you'll be fine after a little more rest. Come, drink this first. The woman said, unconscious for 73 days? The more Su-yin heard, the more astonished he became, and anxiously asked, where's the woman that was with me? Oh, are you talking about that artifact spirit? After you were sent here, she returned to the inside of your magic treasure. The woman pointed to the limitless sword sheath that was leaning on the edge of the bed. Hearing that, Su-yin turned his head to look and immediately took out the sword sheath, looked at it for a while, and said, she is not an artifact spirit. The lady did not say anything. She only passed the wooden cup to Su-yin, indicating for him to drink. What is this? World tree sap. World tree? Su-yin sniffed. It was extremely fragrant and asked, why do you drink it? It can cleanse your body and repair the damaged chi meridian and meridians in your body. Oh, it's actually such a good thing. Hearing that, Su-yin's eyes lit up without hesitation. He took the wooden cup and drank it. He had been unconscious for so long. Most likely this woman had taken care of him, so she probably wouldn't harm him. With a gulp, the sweet and fragrant juice slid down his throat and into his stomach. Su-yin licked his lips, feeling the aftertaste. This taste was simply indescribable. Perhaps Su-yin had never tasted such a delicious thing in his life. It's delicious. Do you have any more? Su-yin passed the cup over and said with a smile, this thing only produces 1 drop every 50 years. You just drank 1,000 years worth of it. The woman said softly. What? Su-yin was instantly dumbfounded. 50 years for a drop. 1,000 years for such a small mouthful. Then how precious must this thing be? Suddenly, he felt his abdomen heat up. Following that, a strange energy surged out from his abdomen and instantly exploded. It split into 9 parts and rushed towards his entire body. What was going on? Su-yin was shocked. He immediately sat down cross-legged, feeling all the chi meridian in his body itch. There was an uncontrollable throbbing. This throbbing was shocking. Crash! At this time, a change happened to the spirit core. A green line appeared around each spirit core, and the spirit core became even more lively and sturdy. Not only the spirit core, even the chi meridian seemed to have received a blessing. The walls of the chi meridian seemed to have thickened, and the inside of the walls was extremely smooth, making it easier for the chi to flow and transport. Breakthrough? Su-yin was shocked. However, the heat in his lower abdomen did not dissipate. It continued to circulate the strange energy, sending it to every part of his body in an endless stream. The lady saw Su-yin sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed, then turned and walked out of the house. Just like that, Su-yin sat cross-legged in the house, continuously circulating his chi and his cultivation. It was unknown what kind of divine object the world tree sap was, but it actually had such a miraculous effect. The energy that seeped out from the sap actually dug out all the potential in his body, and not only did it dig out, it also gave him countless benefits. It was like a teacher guiding the various powers in his body to operate, to sublimate, and to become an even more powerful existence. It was also like a seed buried in the ground and began to grow strong and strong, producing shocking power. In just a few short days, the power had multiplied several times, and it was still erupting. Su-yin was ecstatic. He seriously coordinated with the explosive power in his lower abdomen, carefully channeling the profound strength, allowing the mysterious power to revolve around every inch of his flesh and bones. After an unknown period of time, Su-yin slowly opened his eyes. In that instant, it was as if he had been reborn and changed into a new body. His entire body was filled with an indescribable magical power, and his condition had also recovered to its limit. What the hell is going on? What exactly is that world tree sap? Su-yin muttered in joy. He raised his hand and clenched his fist. The profound chi burst forth from his palm like a flower. Sky Spirit Master level. Su-yin's eyes released a golden light. He never thought that he would actually jump a few levels and step into the Sky Spirit Master realm. Although he had jumped a few levels, Su-Yin did not feel the slightest bit of loss. At the moment, in his mind, there was already a large amount of comprehension regarding the existence of the 9th and 10th grade of the Spirit Cultivator, but these comprehensions did not seem to be comprehended by himself, but rather by someone else. Although he did not comprehend it himself, it seemed to have grown in his body. It was difficult to move, and no one could take it away. You're awake? The familiar sound of nature once again floated in from outside the house. Su-Yin anxiously raised his head and looked towards the direction of the voice, only to see the beautiful young lady walking in. This world tree sap actually has such a miraculous effect. My cultivation actually jumped several levels in one go. Isn't this too unbelievable? Su-Yin exclaimed. The world tree is the mother tree of the Wanhua realm. It contains a mysterious and powerful force of nature. The juice that it exudes every 50 years is called the holy water by the people of the Wanhua realm, and only those who have contributed to the Wanhua realm can use it. This time, in order to save you, I got people to take out all of the world tree sap that I have stored over the years and consumed it for you. It is not surprising that your cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. If any ordinary person were to consume this world tree sap, they would be able to reach the first stage of the Spirit Master. The woman said softly. Hearing that, Su-Yin was shocked. Such precious holy water. How could I drink it all? What ability do I, Su-Yin, have? How can I receive such a generous gift? How can this be a generous gift? Do you know how much contribution you have made to my Wanhua realm by helping Mu Gue and Mu Ing repel those true Devil Realm people? The woman said softly, if not for you, the people of the true Devil Realm would have succeeded, and the gates of my Wanhua realm would have been open for the people of the true Devil Realm. At that time, my Wanhua realm would have been plunged into misery and suffering, and everything would no longer exist, so your contribution is extremely great. The people of my Wanhua realm are never ungrateful people. The only thing that can save you right now is this kind of holy water, so we are willing to use it to save you. Hearing that, Su-Yin was moved. He stood up and said, Thank you very much, miss. Oh, that's right. I still don't know your name. Su-Yin said, but when his feet touched the ground, just as he was about to stand up, his body suddenly went limp, and he fell forward. The lady frowned. She immediately wanted to use the profound qi to hold Su-Yin back, but halfway through the activation of the profound qi, the lady retracted it with lightning speed. Seeing that, Su-Yin was stunned and immediately fell into the lady's embrace. Ugh! The woman let out a sound that sounded like a coquettish cat. Her breathing suddenly became hurried, her heels slipped, and her entire body fell to the ground, pressed down by Su-Yin's body. How is this possible? Su-Yin was shocked. He realized that his knees were completely numb, and at this moment, he could not control them. There was only a strange and warm energy circulating between his legs. What made him even more surprised was, why did this woman want to remove the profound qi that was supposed to be able to hold him back? Furthermore, with her strength, could it be that she couldn't support him? Did he have to use himself as a cushion? Although Su-Yin enjoyed this kind of cushion, he raised his head and looked at the woman beneath him. The woman's face was like a peach blossom, and her watery eyes stared at him without any signs of panic or surprise. However, her cheeks, which should have been as white as snow, became even redder. Not only that, her breathing became more and more hurried, as if she would stop breathing at any moment. The water in her eyes also became more and more blurred. What was going on? Could it be that he had fallen in love? Chapter 566. Such an awkward scene made Su-Yin feel extremely uncomfortable. He immediately wanted to activate the profound qi, allowing his body to stand up, but the person below him shouted anxiously, Don't activate the profound qi. Su-Yin's movements froze. He still maintained his posture of pressing down on her body, and asked her in shock, Why? When you fell just now, did you lose all feeling in your legs? Her breathing was rapid as she spoke in a delicate voice. How do you know? That's because the world tree sap has started to repair your legs, but I didn't expect your legs to be so severely damaged." The woman bit her tender lips that could make people go crazy and said with a trembling voice, "The main effect of the world tree sap is not only to increase cultivation, but also to revive the dead. Normally, when there are serious injuries, it will carry out regeneration and recovery. Other than those that have injured the soul, it will carry out recovery alone. I never thought that your legs would actually injure the soul. The world tree sap is still continuing. It is currently repairing the soul of your legs, which is why your legs temporarily lost their numbness. But during this period, your body cannot use the profound chi, and even more so, you cannot touch any of the profound chi of other people. If not, the healing of your legs will fail, and your legs will be crippled, and your soul will be crippled, and you will never be able to stand up again." "What?" Hearing that, Suyun immediately broke out in cold sweat. He shuddered, and a chill rose up his back. How could he have thought that the matter would be so serious? No wonder she didn't use the profound chi to hold him back. Once she used the profound chi, the consequences would be unimaginable. But then again, why didn't she use her hands to support him? Was it fun to be a meat cushion? Suyun thought curiously. "Why didn't you tell me this earlier?" Suyun took a deep breath and asked. "Earlier, I didn't know that your legs would be like this. After all, when I checked your injuries, your legs weren't seriously injured. Perhaps when you broke through, did you deposit a large amount of juice energy in your legs?" The woman seemed to have thought of something and asked with a frown while breathing rapidly. Hearing that, Suyun laughed awkwardly. "I did indeed do that on purpose because I cultivated a divine wind sword technique, and it has already reached large success, but I wanted to break through my current speed and reach a higher and stronger speed, so I had this plan, and I hope to achieve it through this miraculous juice." "I see, no wonder." The woman gently closed her watery eyes, opened her mouth slightly, and spat out a mouthful of warm fragrance. She said, "Everything is natural. Everything is natural. Nothing can be forced. This is how it is. You should not do it on purpose, if not it will backfire. The world tree holy water will repair it according to the damage to your body. What you need to do is cooperate, not command." "All right." Suyun nodded. "I was greedy." The woman said no more. At this moment, her cheeks were so red that it seemed like blood was about to drip out. Her breathing rate was also getting faster and faster. Her white and tender face was overflowing with fragrant sweat. Her eyes were tightly closed, and her slender and slightly curved eyelashes were also gently swaying. Seeing that, Suyun was slightly startled. "Are you feeling very uncomfortable?" He felt that the warm body of the person beneath him was trembling slightly. She tried to make a sound. "How is this possible? Your cultivation should not be low. I did not use the slightest bit of profound strength. What is pressing down on you is only the weight of my body. You should be able to endure it," Suyun said in surprise. However, the woman did not speak. However, her body trembled even more violently. What was wrong with this woman? Suyun's head was filled with fog. He was extremely confused, but at that moment, he felt as if he was pressing down on a ball of soft cotton. That kind of smooth feeling was simply indescribable with words. "When can you get up?" "Wait. Wait for your legs to regain feeling. Then you can get up." "Then when will that happen?" "I don't know. Then push me away first, and get up by yourself first." I can't do it," the woman said in a trembling voice. "Why?" Suyun asked in surprise. I can't use even the slightest bit of strength right now. What?" Suyun stared at her with wide eyes. However, the woman still tilted her head and did not say a word. Her cheeks were bright red, making her look extremely cute. What the hell was this? The woman did not explain, and Suyun did not understand either. The two of them just maintained this posture for no reason, and maintained it for a long time. Suyun did not dare to activate his profound strength. His legs had lost all feeling, and he laid on the ground like a cripple. However, he still knew how to show mercy to the fairer sex, and with both hands supporting himself, he flipped over. However, the moment he flipped over from the woman's body, the woman let out a series of moaning sounds of ecstasy. Then, she took a few rapid and heavy breaths. Finally, her breaths slowly calmed down, and the sweat on her face increased. This, could it be? Su Yun stared blankly at the woman's beautiful and pure face, revealing such a captivating and enchanting expression. His heart suddenly started beating wildly, and an inexplicable heat rose from his lower abdomen. What was the feeling of seeing this woman for the first time? It was a breathtaking feeling of seeing a white lotus for the first time. It was only at the moment he saw this white lotus that he truly understood what it meant to be untainted by mud, to be cleansed of ripples, and not to be demonic. However, when a white lotus turned into a colorful lotus, he truly understood what was called beauty, what was called unforgettable, and what was called making people go completely crazy. Su Yun had seen many beauties in his life, but this was the first time he had seen such a pure and charming person. This was simply the combination of a fairy and a demoness. What's going on with you? What's wrong with you? Su Yun felt that his breathing had also become hurried. His eyes revealed a trace of madness as he swept his gaze across the woman's graceful and exquisite body. However, just as Su Yun asked this question, the woman actually turned her body and pressed down on Su Yun's body. Su Yun was dumbstruck. Before he could even react, an ice-cold, soft, and incomparably sweet pink lips were imprinted on his mouth. What? Su Yun's eyes widened. Are all the people of Wanhua realm so open? Her small mouth kissed randomly, and a pair of cold and soft hands groped around Su Yun's broad and thick chest. She seemed to be at a loss, and her watery eyes were filled with confusion. Other than confusion, it seemed, there was also a strong sense of fear and pain. Seeing this strange look in her eyes, Su Yun's heart felt as if it had been pierced by a needle. Perhaps he didn't even have the time to enjoy the comfort brought to him by these intoxicating lips. Miss, Su Yun tried his best to control himself, who was about to lose control, and shouted out a few words with a dry and hoarse voice. However, at this moment, the woman seemed to have gone completely crazy. She didn't reply to his words at all. There was only a cat-like snort coming from her nose, and her small mouth was also randomly kissing. The fragrance surrounded Su Yun. That soft and smooth feeling was even more difficult to leave. She seemed to have lost herself. However, that trace of innate instinct seemed to have a strong resistance to all of this. Sensing this extremely obscure resistance, Su Yun suddenly woke up, and his entire body broke out in cold sweat once again. She must have been affected by something to be like this. If he took advantage of her, would he still be considered a human? The other party had saved his life. Thinking about it, Su Yun suddenly pinched the flesh of his arm. Although it did not hurt, he was still somewhat clear-headed. He pushed the woman in front of him away and pressed her to the ground, not allowing her to move. However, the woman's lotus-like arms were still tightly grabbing onto Su Yun. Her eyes were filled with confusion as she looked at him. It was obvious that she was aroused. Her face was extremely red, and her breathing was extremely fast, as if she would die at any moment. Wake up, wake up! At this moment, Su Yun no longer had any protective feelings for the fairer sex. He directly raised his hand and slapped the incomparably tender and delicate face twice. Although he did not use much strength, there was already a shallow palm mark on her face, causing one's heart to ache. However, these two slaps were actually very effective. The woman's breathing gradually subsided, and her blurry eyes slowly became clear. Seeing that, Su Yun finally heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that it was just as he had thought. This woman was not subdued by his handsome appearance, but was affected by some other factor. However, what exactly was the factor? The woman slowly regained her calm, and her breathing gradually stopped. She did not get up, but lay flat on the ground with Su Yun. Her pair of watery eyes looked at the place that was filled with green leaves and flowers, and her expression was somewhat lonely. Su Yun quietly lay there for a long time, and when he realized that his legs could feel something, he immediately sat up. After he got up, he was not in a hurry to care about his feet. Instead, he stared at the woman and asked, "Are you all right?" The woman got up with some difficulty. She bit her lips tightly and lowered her watery eyes. Her appearance was incomparably pitiful. Seeing this, Su Yun understood that she had already returned to normal. "I'm fine." She spoke very softly, so softly that no one could hear her. Seeing her downcast expression, Su Yun frowned, hesitated for a moment, then asked, "What exactly is going on? Why did you become like that?" The lady raised her head and looked at him, looking at Su Yun's face for a long while, then said, "If I don't tell you, I'm afraid you will misunderstand me. I am not that kind of shameless woman. There is a reason why I am like that." "Then what is the reason?" Su Yun hurriedly asked. The woman exhaled and gently raised her fair and delicate hand. She opened her mouth, as if she did not dare to say anything. In the end, she pointed at her full and perky chest. Su Yun was startled and followed the direction of her hand to look at her breasts. "What is it?" "That's the reason," the woman said in a low voice. Sensing the other party's burning gaze, no matter how well-mannered the woman was, she still felt a little embarrassed. "What is the reason?" Su Yun realized that he was getting more and more confused. Chapter 567. Seeing Su Yun's puzzled face, the lady's crimson face could only shake her head helplessly. "Do you really want me to be so clear?" "All right, I'll be frank." She stood up, looked at Su Yun, and said gently, "My physique is rather special. It is a natural body, different from ordinary people. Every 3,000 years, my body will undergo a change, and every time it changes, it will cause my cultivation to soar all the way to the peak. But I also have a weakness, which is that there are two very sensitive places on my body, and it is this chest. Once touched, it will disturb the flow of qi in my body, causing all sorts of discomfort." "Su Yun, when you fell just now, I did not dare to use the profound qi to touch you, so I wanted to reach out to support you. However, my strength is relatively small, so I accidentally let you touch me." The lady spoke very calmly, and her face was also very calm. However, Su Yun did not know if she was forcefully holding on or if she was truly not shy. "Since you say so, then this should be your secret. How dare you tell me directly? You have done my Wanhua realm a favor, and I can tell that you are a person, so there's no harm in telling you. What you see may not be right." Su Yun laughed bitterly, then asked, "But then again, your cultivation should be higher than mine, right? I can't feel the profound qi on your body at all. Your strength must be unfathomable. Since that's the case, why can't even I support you? I should be very light." When the woman heard this, she shook her head again. "I already said, my physique is very special. I do not need to cultivate at all. My cultivation is directly absorbing everything in the Wanhua realm and slowly growing until it blossoms and bears fruit, although my cultivation is very strong. But putting aside my cultivation, I am afraid that my own strength is no different from an ordinary person." "No different from an ordinary person?" Su Yun looked at the petite lady in front of him, then looked at his own thick and sturdy body, and immediately understood. "So that's how it is." He smiled awkwardly and said, "Please forgive me for offending you just now. Please forgive me. It has nothing to do with you. No one wants this kind of thing to happen. Furthermore, you did not take advantage of me, which is enough to show that you are not one of those shameless and lowly people." "How could I bother with you?" the woman said. "That's good." Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief. "One more thing." The woman tilted her head slightly and said softly, "Regarding everything that happened just now, everything that you heard, please keep it a secret. Don't tell anyone, okay? Don't worry, I will definitely keep this a secret. Besides, I don't think anyone will care about this." Su Yun patted his chest and laughed. The woman nodded lightly, turned around, and walked towards the door. "Since you've recovered, come with me. I've already arranged a banquet to entertain you." "Arrange a banquet?" Su Yun was startled. Seeing the lady walk out of the door, he immediately followed. Speaking of which, this woman still hadn't said who she was. Su Yun was filled with suspicions as he walked out with the lady. Outside the house was a wide wooden path that extended downwards. The wooden path seemed to be a branch of a gigantic tree, and in the distance there were many gigantic buildings. There were even houses. They were all made of wood. However, these buildings were either hung by vines or dragged by even stronger branches. None of them were on the ground. "Where is this?" Su Yun looked around and asked in surprise. This is the top of the realm tree. The woman said, Realm tree? Is it big? Compared to the huge tree outside the Wanhua Realm's gate. How big is it? Compared to the realm tree, that tree is only the bright moon and fireflies, the earth and sand. The realm tree is the center of the Wanhua Realm and is the source of life for the Wanhua Realm. Most of the people of the Wanhua Realm live on top of the realm tree. The lady said simply, although she did not introduce it in detail. From these few words, Su-yin had already understood how terrifying the realm tree was. Su-yin was well aware of how big the tree was, but compared to the realm tree, it was like a grain of sand and a firefly. So how big was the tree? The realm tree, the realm tree, the realm tree wouldn't be bad. The lady led Su-yin forward down the wooden path and arrived at a gigantic green leaf. At that moment, there were 20 beautiful young women dressed in green standing on top of the green leaf. The women were slim and graceful. All of them had their heads lowered, and when the two of them walked over, they called out in unison, Greetings, Realm Lord. The clear and bright voice was pleasing to the eyes, but when these people called out the woman's name, Su-yin was completely shocked. Realm Lord? He stared blankly at the lady in front of him and asked in shock, You are the Realm Lord of this Wanhua Realm? The woman nodded lightly. Didn't you ask me before? You just said that you're the owner of this place. I'm referring to the Wanhua Realm. I thought you were talking about that room. That counts because that's my place of cultivation. What? Su-yin was startled. Such a simple house was actually the cultivation ground of the Lord of a Realm? There didn't even seem to be a magical formation, right? Although this woman did not need to deliberately cultivate to increase her cultivation, it was too simple and crude. The Realm Lord seemed to have seen through Su-yin's thoughts and said, Don't look at me with the eyes of an ordinary person, although I am the master of a realm. This is just an identity. Putting aside this identity, I am no different from the people of the Wanhua Realm. Whether it's a residence or a place of cultivation, there's no need to deliberately decorate it, right? Hearing that, Su-yin nodded. Following that, under the accompaniment of the 20 beautiful maids, the two of them headed straight towards the Realm Palace in the center of the Realm Tree. The Realm Palace was different from the other buildings. Most of the buildings here had signs of being man-made, but the Realm Palace was different. It was simply a huge natural gourd. The mouth of the gourd was the entrance, and inside the gourd was the universe. A long staircase extended from the mouth of the gourd to the inside. There were more than 1,000 of them, and at the waist of the gourd, there was an incomparably huge multicolored leaf. On the leaf were wriggling human heads. Everyone was already seated. 2 long wooden tables extended from the head of the leaf to the tail of the leaf. The wooden table was filled with fruits and vegetables, fine wine and delicacies, but there was no meat at all. When Su-yin and the Realm Lord stepped down the stairs, the people on both sides of the wooden table all stood up and shouted in unison, Greetings, Lord Realm Lord. The shouts continued, with hundreds of people shouting at the same time. The sound was extremely loud. Hearing that, Su-yin was secretly shocked. He quietly sized up the people here and realized that the majority of them had difficulty smelling. Their strength was unfathomable. Seems like this should be the core of the Wanhua Realm. Su-yin, you must grasp this opportunity well and have a good relationship with the people here. In the future, you'll be able to go anywhere you want. Just then, a light voice sounded out beside Su-yin's ears. It was Ling Qingyu. Su-yin was slightly startled. Qingyu, it's you? Are you all right? I'm fine. When you were taken down by the Realm Lord to be treated, I returned to the sword sheath to recuperate. It's good that you're fine. Su-yin heaved a sigh of relief and laughed. You're still concerned about me. You're already injured to such an extent. This time you were lucky to meet the Realm Lord of the Wanhua Realm. If it was an ordinary person, even if they could protect your life, it would be difficult for them to protect your cultivation. Next time, don't be so impulsive. Ling Qingyu said snappily. Don't worry, there won't be a next time. This time, it's all because I'm in a hurry to see my parents. Su-yin laughed awkwardly. But then again, those devil cultivators' cultivation was probably around the 4th to 5th stage of the Sky Spirit Master. If not with the 7 devil bone giantess, how could they fight so strenuously? Su-yin thought. Su-yin, Why don't you invite your Miss Artifact spirit out to enjoy the banquet? Just then, a gentle voice came from the side. Su Yun turned his head to look, only to see that the Realm Lord was looking at him with her watery eyes. Without waiting for Su Yun to speak, Ling Qingyu's voice floated out from the sword sheath. Thank you, Realm Lord, for your good intentions. Qingyu appreciates it. Qingyu still has some comprehensions that I have yet to comprehend, so I cannot accompany Realm Lord. Please forgive me. With that said, Ling Qingyu's aura disappeared from the sword sheath. Seeing that, Su Yun laughed bitterly. Realm Lord was not angry. She nodded to the maid beside her and then walked towards her seat. Su Yun was brought to the first row on the right side of the banquet by the maid. Everyone sat down. No one dared to move their chopsticks first. Instead, they all looked at the graceful lady seated at the top. Su Yun lifted his hood and looked at the Realm Lord. Then his gaze landed on the fruits and vegetables on the wooden table in front of him. He realized that these foods were not simple, and all of them had an indescribable spirituality floating on the surface. The Wanhua realm was a place of outstanding people and was being watched by the true Devil Realm. It was extremely rich in resources and was afraid that the things used to entertain them were also extraordinary. Su Yun thought. At this moment, a clear shout came from his seats. Pour the wine. Everyone immediately picked up the wine jugs in front of them and filled their wooden cups. There were no maids in clothes, so everyone did it for themselves. Seeing that, Su Yun immediately filled it up. Following that, the charming Realm Lord raised the wine cup in her hand and shouted, "This cup is for my mother. I hope that the life of the Wanhua realm will never be extinguished. To my mother, I hope that the life of the Wanhua realm will never be extinguished." Everyone cheered and drank the wine. Su Yun immediately poured the dark green liquid into his mouth, and when the wine entered his stomach, he could not help but recall the aftertaste. Compared to the World Tree juice from last time, this was even more unpleasant to drink than the water in the gutter. However, when the juice entered his stomach, it caused his body to feel refreshed and his spirit to multiply. It was also quite effective. The Realm Lord called out casually, and everyone started to eat and drink on their own. The scene immediately became lively, and there were no longer any complicated etiquettes. No one deliberately respected the Realm Lord, nor did anyone deliberately curry favor with her. Everyone was happy and harmonious, and the atmosphere was just right. Seeing this scene, Su Yun could not help but be moved. Although he had just met this woman, she might be a good Realm Lord. Su Yun, let's drink a cup together. This wine is a toast to you on behalf of all the living beings in the Wanhua realm. Just then, the Realm Lord walked over, gently raised her wooden cup, and said softly. Chapter 568. Seeing that, Su Yun anxiously stood up and raised his cup to return the toast. After the two of them finished drinking, they put down their cups, and Su Yun spoke up impatiently. Realm Master, why did you hold this banquet today? Why? It's just for you, the Realm Master said. There's no need to go through so much trouble. Su Yun laughed bitterly. I appreciate the good intentions of the Realm Master and the various masters, but I might have to leave this place soon. I know. The Realm Master nodded her head and said, I heard from Mu Ge and Mu Ing that you came here to find your parents, right? That's right, my father and mother are currently in the Linglong Mountain, Realm Master, as the Realm Master of the Wanhua Realm. The Linglong Mountain should also be under your jurisdiction. The Linglong Mountain is not small. I'm afraid it will be difficult to find my father and mother for a while. If it's convenient for Realm Master, can you help me after I reunite with my parents? I will definitely repay Realm Master. Su Yun immediately said. In fact, the reason why he had followed this woman here, instead of leaving immediately after recovering from his injuries, was also because he hoped that this woman would be able to help him. Your parents are in the Linglong Mountain? The Realm Master asked. That's right. A few months ago, I received news that they were still in the Linglong Mountain. I don't think they would go anywhere in such a short period of time. Su Yun said. Although he said that, he was still a little worried. He had to find a time to use the heavenly seeking treasure bell again. Its internal energy had recovered, and it was able to support the next use. Hearing that, the Realm Master was surprised and silent. She frowned. lowered her head, and thought for a moment, then said, Su Yun, I will send someone to accompany you to the Linglong Mountain, but whether or not you can find your parents, I'm afraid you can only rely on yourself. Hearing that, Su Yun was surprised. Why does Realm Master say that? You might not know this, but the Linglong Mountain is different from the rest of the Wanhua realm. It can be said that it is the most complicated and mysterious place in the Wanhua realm, and we are the most special center. Because there are a total of 50 sects that are entrenched in the Linglong Mountain, it is a paradise for cultivators in the Wanhua realm, and also a place where cultivators from other realms gather. Fish and dragons are mixed together and are not under my control, so I am unable to help you, and you will have to find your parents by yourself. So it's like that. Su Yun was a little disappointed. He thought that with the power of the Realm Lord, finding his parents would be extremely easy. But you don't have to be too disappointed. Although the Linglong Mountain is not under my jurisdiction, the people there still have to follow the rules I set. If anyone goes too far, I still have the right to punish them. Other than that, all the sects in the Linglong Mountain have to pay tribute to me every year. I will bestow you a divine leaf. With this divine leaf, no matter which sect leader it is, they must meet you. With that, the Realm Master raised her snow-white hand and waved it towards the sky. A ray of multicolored light flew out from her palm, passing through the mouth of the gourd and flying out of the exit. After a while, rays of golden light fell down like raindrops, and the people who were drinking below all raised their heads to look at the miraculous scene. After a while, the light disappeared, and a golden leaf gently floated down, slowly entering the soft hand. Realm Master extended the divine leaf in front of Su Yun. Su Yun looked at the divine leaf and felt the mysterious aura emitted from the leaf. His heart was filled with emotions. He took it and placed it properly. Thank you, Realm Master. Su Yun cupped his fists and said, It's just a small matter. Don't say too much. Let's drink. Realm Master smiled gently. She saluted Su Yun, then turned and walked back to her seat. During the banquet, there were people who came over to chat with Su Yun. All of these existences had high cultivations and terrifying strength, but when facing Su Yun, they did not dare reveal the slightest bit of arrogance, and all of them addressed him as Lord, causing Su Yun to be overwhelmed by the favor. After 3 rounds of wine, the banquet gradually dispersed, and Su Yun stood up to bid farewell. Realm Master did not say anything and immediately arranged for 4 guards to follow him, but they were all rejected by Su Yun. With the divine leaf, this time, the Linglong Mountain would definitely be unobstructed. Although these guards were strong, their speed could not compare to his, and bringing them along would instead be a burden. After Su Yun exited the realm tree, he immediately took out his flying sword and rushed towards the direction of the Linglong Mountain. Stepping on the flying sword, he transformed into a rainbow and flew straight into the sky. Realm Master and a group of Supreme Experts stood on the branches outside the realm tree, looking at the direction Su Yun left in, none of them making a sound. A few middle-aged Supreme Expert dressed in green whispered to each other. One of them walked over and cupped his fists and said respectfully, Realm Master, I heard that you gave all of the holy water to this person. Why is that so? According to common sense, a drop of holy water is enough to save his life. Once it is exhausted, when we deal with the people of the true devil realm in the future, what should we use to save the people of our Wanhua realm? Do you think I'm broken? Realm Master did not look at him. Her watery eyes were still looking into the distance, her pink lips slightly parted. This subordinate doesn't dare. I just feel that it's not worth it. There's nothing worth it. This person just resolved a huge crisis in the Wanhua realm. If not for him, what use would all this holy water be? Furthermore, we might have to rely on him in the future. When everyone heard this, they were all confused. That person hesitated for a moment before asking, Why do you say that? The realm tree has given me instructions. It is very vague. It only indicates that this person will participate in the crisis in the future, but I do not know what role he will play in this crisis. I hope that he will help us, but no matter what, he is the benefactor of our Wanhua realm. The people of the Wanhua realm must know how to be grateful. Understand? After the Realm Lord spoke, she turned around and walked gracefully toward her own cultivation grounds, leaving behind a group of bewildered and confused major characters. In the vast sky, the majestic palace was in the clouds. It was like an immortal's cave, sacred and noble. From time to time, there would be figures approaching the palaces, entering or leaving. The group of people walked out of the palace. When the people entering and exiting the palace saw them, they all bowed respectfully. "Nephew, you have been in the Emperor Palace for a while, but during this period of time, I have always let you cultivate in seclusion and forgot to take you to see the scenery of the Emperor Palace. Today, I will take this opportunity to take you around." Wang Tianyang led a group of Emperor Palace's various sect masters and said to Lin Shishan, who was beside him, "The Emperor Palace is majestic and boundless. I'm afraid that my eyes will go blurry." Lin Shishan laughed. Wang Tianyang laughed, then said, "Nephew, are you sure you want to leave the ultimate martial world and return to the sky martial continent?" "Yes." Lin Shishan nodded his head. "I have learned a lot in the Emperor Palace and have broadened my horizons, but in the end, this is not my place. The Immortal Sword Sect cannot be without a master for a day. I still have to return to the sky martial continent and manage the sect. They always say that people go to higher places and water flows to lower places. The cultivation conditions of the ultimate martial world, the profound skill cultivation methods, the pill materials, and so on, which one of them isn't higher than the sky martial continent? What can you cultivate in that low-level plane? Why don't you just bring your sect to the heavenly palace? Your talents are very good, and in the future, you will definitely become a great paragon. If you continue to stay in that lower plane, then your life will be ruined." Wang Tianyang said earnestly and kindly. Hearing that, Lin Shishan opened his mouth, but just as he was about to say something, Great Clan Elder Tang Tian coughed slightly. Lin Shishan turned his head slightly. Tang Tian cupped his fists and said, "Sect leader does not forget his homeland. His spirit is admirable, but what Palace Master Wang said is definitely for the good of the Immortal Sword Sect. In truth, sect leader, the current scale and development of our Immortal Sword Sect in the Sky Martial Continent is already very difficult to increase. This time, sect leader went to the Emperor Palace to learn and gained a lot. But even if we return, we will only surpass the Profound Sky Sect and become a #1 sect in the Sky Martial Continent. But what about after that? When the Immortal Sword Sect reaches its peak, it will be very difficult to break through again, because all the conditions in the Sky Martial Continent are restricting the development of the Immortal Sword Sect. So, if sect leader wants the Immortal Sword Sect to continue to grow stronger and continue to multiply, entering the ultimate martial world is the best choice. And with the help of a supreme expert like Palace Master Wang, it is extremely easy for our Immortal Sword Sect to enter the ultimate martial world. So, Tang Tian, I hope sect leader will reconsider." Hearing that, Lin Shishan frowned. Returning to the Sky Martial Continent was indeed his own idea. He did not discuss it with these people, and spoke his mind, not caring about the feelings of the people in the sect. He secretly looked at the sect leader and the elites of the Immortal Sword Sect, but was startled to find that almost all of their eyes were filled with desire and anticipation. From the looks of it, after coming to the ultimate martial world, everyone had fallen in love with it. Lin Shishan immediately understood. That's right, the spirit chi here was abundant, and the things that were supposed to be extremely precious in the Sky Martial Continent were worthless here. Cultivating here was many times faster than cultivating in the Sky Martial Continent. How could they want to leave? Thinking about that, he could not help but feel a little helpless. "Uncle Wang, let me think about it." Lin Shishan sighed and finally said, "If you are willing, I can help you draw the land." Wang Tianyang chuckled. Let's discuss again. Lin Shishan was no longer willing to discuss the matter and continued to enjoy the scenery. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and immediately asked Tang Tian, who was beside him, "Is there any news of Clan Elder Long?" After the destruction of the Suicide Valley, Clan Elder Long disappeared. "I have already sent 100 disciples to search for her whereabouts, and someone claimed to have seen Clan Elder Long at the Blackfish auction house. Then have you sent anyone to ask? I've asked, but Clan Elder Long is no longer here. They don't know where Clan Elder has gone. What about Bai Shan? Where is Bai Shan? I don't know where she is either. Lin Shishan frowned. It's just 2 disciples. Although your immortal sword sect cannot compare to the Emperor Palace, you still have a lot of people. Why must you worry about the 2 of them? Wang Tianyang shook his head. Hearing that, Lin Shishan did not say a word, but the worry between his brows did not dissipate. Chapter 569. Is this the Linglong Mountain? Su Yun, who was standing on his flying sword in the sky, looked into the distance and muttered. Amidst the clouds and mist in the distance, there was a gigantic mountain peak. This mountain was extremely big and tall, with jagged rocks in some places, and some places were extremely flat. It was faintly discernible in the clouds and mist, giving off a mysterious feeling. Su Yin did not hesitate. He impatiently stepped on his flying sword and rushed forward, his speed reaching its fastest speed. Halt! Just as he was flying quickly and was about to approach the mysterious immortal mountain, a voice suddenly came out from below. Su Yun was startled. He looked down, only to see 2 figures rushing up. They were 2 men dressed in purple blade master cloths. They both wore long swords and jade crowns. They looked pretty good and had the same badge on their waists. From their attire, it seemed that they belonged to the same sect or power. The 2 of them stood in front of Su Yun, sized him up, and asked, "Is this your first time coming to the Linglong Mountain?" "Yes." Su Yun immediately cupped his fists. "Do you not know that flying is prohibited in the Linglong Mountain? Furthermore, please familiarize yourself with the rules of the Linglong Mountain. Abide by the customs here, and do not overstep them. Otherwise, it will bring unnecessary trouble to both sides." One of them said seriously, "I understand, but what are the rules of the Linglong Mountain? Please enlighten me." Su Yun said, "We're very busy. We don't have time to explain it to you." The other person shouted, "I have a copy of the Linglong Mountain's rules here. I'll sell it to you for 50,000 profound coin." As the man spoke, he took out a black leather book from his bosom and handed it over to Su Yun. 50,000 profound coin? Su Yun opened his eyes wide. What's the difference between this and stealing? Fellow cultivator, what you said is wrong. The spirit cultivator said, then pulled Su Yun down, and the 3 of them landed on the mountain road below. Look, the man pointed to a huge stone tablet beside the mountain road and said. Su Yun looked over and saw that there were more than 10 large words carved on the stone tablet. Linglong Mountain. Those who are not familiar with the mountain rules are not allowed to enter. Su Yun was startled. Who set this up? Hearing Su Yun's question, the man was immediately angered and shouted, "You don't need to care who set it up. Either spend 50,000 profound coin to buy this book, or leave. You're not allowed to enter the Linglong Mountain." Oh, Su Yun rolled his eyes and said, "Could it be that the 2 of you did it? You? What nonsense are you talking about? How can we have that kind of authority?" Someone said anxiously, his voice somewhat panicked. Seeing that, Su Yun understood a little. The rules of the Linglong Mountain had to be followed, but the rules were dead. If someone wanted to follow them, they had to at least tell them what the rules were. However, not only did the 2 of them not say anything, but they even used their power to gain benefits. This was too unethical. Most likely, what was erected here was the rules of the Linglong Mountain, and not a stone tablet that looked like a notice. It was most likely done by the 2 of them. If it was a normal day, he would have paid the 50,000 profound coin. After all, it was not a lot. It was more important to meet his parents, but he did not have 50,000 profound coin on him. Although the battle at Suicide Valley had made him rich overnight, the money was all with Heiyu, and he did not withdraw it, so it was naturally difficult for him to pay the money now. "Can you give me a discount?" Su Yun thought for a while and asked. "I can't give you this book, even if it's missing a single coin." "There's no discussion?" "No discussion." The man was very determined. Hearing that, Su Yun became silent. "What is it? Do you have no money? If you don't have any money, then hurry up and go back. Don't waste our time." The man snorted. Hearing that, Su Yun thought for a moment, then asked, "What if I barge into the Linglong Mountain?" When the 2 of them heard this, they looked at each other and suddenly laughed out loud. "Barge into the Linglong Mountain? Ha ha ha. Is your head broken? Ha? If you have the ability, then barge in. You don't know the rules, and you still want to enter the Linglong Mountain? Ha 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 ha. You have to know that once you do this, you will offend all the spirit cultivators that are entrenched in the Linglong Mountain. If you have that much ability, I will let you enter at any time. Ha ha ha. The two of them laughed exaggeratedly. Their voices were exceptionally ear-piercing, causing those who heard them to be infuriated. Since that's the case, then call your superiors over. Su Yun's voice became calm. Do you think the people above us are people you can meet whenever you want? The man snorted and said with extreme disdain. But in the next second, Su Yun moved. He raised his fist, and with a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye, it smashed into the man's face. Bang! A muffled sound rang out, and the man flew dozens of meters back, fiercely crashing onto the ground. The corner of his mouth and nose were covered in blood, and he crawled up with a face full of astonishment and looked at Su Yun in shock. How dare you? The other person immediately flew into a rage. He pulled out the sword from his waist and thrust it at Su Yun. How dare you behave so atrociously here? See if I don't teach you a lesson. Eat the sword. The sword came smashing over, and the sword body exploded with several torrents of sword chi. Its aura was extremely powerful. But in the next second, that person's wrist suffered a heavy blow. The profound chi in his body loosened, and his power collapsed. The sword in his hand fell, and the attack was instantly dissolved. Looking at it, Su Yun's hand had unknowingly smashed onto his wrist. Such speed. Currently, Su Yun's cultivation was at the Sky Spirit Master Realm, and after swallowing the World Tree sap, his strength had increased explosively. How could these two ninth-grade Spirit Master cultivators contend against him? The two of them were instantly defeated, and immediately understood that this person's strength was not ordinary. But how could their pride allow them to lower their heads to Su Yun so easily? Just you wait, you despicable fellow. When our head instructor comes, he will definitely teach you a lesson. The two of them did not dare to fight head-on. They scrambled to their feet and ran up the mountain in a hurry. I'll be waiting for you, Su Yun shouted. The two of them cursed along the way, shouting as they ran, and quickly disappeared into the mountain. After an unknown period of time, a group of spirit cultivator dressed in purple with swords at their waists quickly rushed over. Although the Linglong Mountain prohibited flying, they were flying close to the ground, and their speed was not slow. The group of people rushed over, and upon seeing Su Yun, they immediately surrounded him. Who's causing trouble? A middle-aged man with a mustache shouted loudly. It's this person, instructor. This guy claims to not know the rules of the Linglong Mountain and refused to listen to our explanations. He insisted on barging into the Linglong Mountain, and when we refused, they attacked and injured us. The spirit cultivator with a bloody nose shouted impatiently. Is that so? Hearing that, the head instructor's face was filled with anger. His pair of dignified eyes stared straight at Su Yun. Who are you? How dare you? Don't you know where this is? I know. If I didn't know, why would I come here? Su Yun said indifferently. But there seems to be something wrong with their words, right? When did I not want to listen to your explanations of the mountain rules? It's just that you guys wanted to spend 50,000 profound coin to buy the mountain rules manual in your hands. If I don't want to, you guys won't let me in. Hee hee. Is this considered a ticket? Speaking of which, there are many sects in the Linglong Mountain. Which sect or power are you from? You actually took away the tickets? I wonder if the other sects did the same. Shouldn't I ask them? With that said, the head instructor's face turned ugly. However, he was not angry, nor was he surprised. It seemed like he knew about the entrance fee and might even be involved in it. Those who do not know the rules of the Linglong Mountain are not allowed to enter the mountain. This is a rule that all the sects of the Linglong Mountain have tacitly agreed on. If you do not know, then quickly scram. Do not come here to cause trouble. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. The man with the mustache shouted. Su Yun was too lazy to waste words with this group of people. He immediately took out the divine leaf that the Realm Lord had given me and showed it to everyone and said indifferently, This is the divine leaf that the Realm Lord bestowed upon me. My name is Su Yun. I have something important to do this time. Anyone who obstructs me will be going against the Wanhua Realm Lord." When the crowd heard this, they were immediately shocked. Wanhua Realm Lord? Divine Leaf? The mustache man carefully looked at the mysterious golden leaf in Su Yun's hand. A trace of suspicion flashed past his eyes. "You are someone sent by the Realm Lord?" "In theory, yes." "Then why did you come here?" "It has nothing to do with you. Quickly let me through. Otherwise, I will immediately return to the Realm Tree and report this matter to the Realm Lord," Su Yun said in a serious tone. He no longer wanted to waste any more time with these people. The most important thing to do right now was to find his parents. Seeing that Su Yun's expression was serious and did not seem to be fake, the middle-aged man hesitated. "What kind of lousy leaf did you bring over and said that you are from the Realm Lord? Who would believe this? I can casually conjure a handful of golden leaves. Wouldn't that mean that I am also from the Realm Lord? Don't laugh your teeth off, stinking brat. You clearly want to enter the mountain. That's why you did this on purpose, right?" Just then, the spirit cultivator at the side, whose face was covered in blood, shouted loudly, "That's right. Don't try to lie to us. Even if you really understand the rules of the mountain today, we still can't let you in. You have already offended our sect by injuring our people. If we let you in, how will our Lotus Star Sword sect be able to establish ourselves in the future?" The other spirit cultivator started to shout under the instigation of the spirit cultivator, whose face was covered in blood. When the mustache man heard this, his wavering heart also made a decision. He said in a deep voice, "You're right. How can our Lotus Star Sword sect tolerate others trampling on us? I don't know if your golden leaf is real or not, but you injured my people first, so no matter what, I won't let you into the mountain. You can either scram or fight us." The mustache man also had confidence. In any case, he was doing this from the standpoint of the sect. Even if something happened, the sect would protect him. What was he afraid of? However, he was actually unwilling to say it in his heart, but the subordinates around him all had the same intention. If he went against them, he was afraid that his subordinates would be disappointed. "Fine." Su Yun's expression became cold. "Since that's the case, then don't waste your breath." With that said, Su Yun pulled out his sword. Chapter 570. Clang. A clear and powerful sword hum resounded throughout the mountain. Seeing Su Yun's determined attitude, everyone could not help but feel angry. This was clearly looking down on everyone. "How dare you? It seems like you plan to go against my Lotus Star Sword sect. Since that's the case, then come. If we do not make a move, then my sword sect will not be able to save face." Walla, the sound of swords being drawn rang out. Waves of sharp sword light flashed in everyone's eyes, making it difficult for them to open their eyes. Both sides were ready to fight. "Instructor Gu, what happened? Why are you all gathered here?" Just as the atmosphere was tense, a voice suddenly floated over from afar. Everyone looked towards the source of the voice and saw a middle-aged man wearing a wide blue robe flying over. This man carried a huge, heavy sword on his back. His body was sturdy and wide, and he looked middle-aged with a kind expression. When they saw this person, everyone was startled. Following that, the mustached man and the people of the Lotus Star Sword sect all bowed and cupped their fists, respectfully calling out, "Disciple pays his respects to Protector Qing. Disciple pays his respects to Protector Qing." The voices continued. "Protector Qing?" Su Yun frowned. From the looks of it, the person who came should be a higher-level existence in the Lotus Star Sword sect. He turned his head to look at the person, trying to analyze the faintly discernible profound qi on his body to determine his level. But unfortunately, the other party's profound qi was so exquisite that it made people gasp in amazement, unable to determine his level. After coming to the ultimate martial world, all the people he saw were people with extraordinary means. If not for relying on powerful magic treasures and luck, Su Yun would not have been able to live peacefully until now. "Get up." The man quickly landed in front of the instructor and said with a smile, "Thank you, Protector." Everyone stood up. Protector Qing nodded at Su Yun, then turned to ask the mustached man, "Instructor Gu, aren't you guarding the sword altar? Why are you here? Does the sect leader have some mission for you?" The mustache man called Instructor Gu had a troubled look on his face. He hesitated, but did not say anything. Instead, it was the spirit cultivator with a face full of blood that shouted out. Protector Qing, it's not that the sect leader has a mission for Instructor Gu, but that someone has come here to cause trouble and insult my Lotus Star Sword sect. After Instructor Gu heard the news, he quickly rushed here. Protector Qing, look, it's this person. Not only did he insult our Lotus Star Sword sect as a third-rate sword sect, he even injured us. Protector Qing, you have to uphold justice for us. The disciple's voice was filled with tears, as if he had been wronged. Yes, Protector Qing, please uphold justice for us and protect the reputation of the Lotus Star Sword sect. Protector Qing, please make the decision. The others shouted in unison, shouting loudly and impatiently. Hearing that, Su Yun was startled for a moment, and the anger in his heart soared high. This group of people were simply lying with their eyes wide open. When had he ever insulted the Lotus Star Sword sect? Speaking of which, he didn't even know that there was such a sword sect on Linglong Mountain. Why would he humiliate a sect that had nothing to do with him? When Protector Qing heard this, he looked at Instructor Gu. His expression became serious and asked, Instructor Gu, is that so? This. Instructor Gu hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Yes. Yes. Seeing that, Protector Qing was silent for a long time, then turned around and looked at Su Yun. He did not immediately become angry and directly attacked Su Yun. Instead, he cupped his fist towards Su Yun. I am Qing Wenlu, the right protector of the Lotus Star Sword sect. May I know your name? He spoke very seriously, and his manners were in place. Seeing that, Su Yun also returned the greeting and said, I am Su Yun from Ultimate Martial World. So it's Lord Su Yun. Qing Wenlu nodded his head, then asked in a serious tone, I believe that Master has heard what my sect's disciples have said. May I ask, Master, is what they said true? Su Yun sneered a few times and said, Can the words of a group of shameless and cunning people be true? What did you say? You are the shameless and cunning one. You are insulting our Lotus Star Sword sect again. This is simply unforgivable. Instructor Gu and the rest were infuriated. However, Qing Wenlu raised his hand, signaling them not to say any more. He looked at Su Yun seriously and asked, Why did you come to the Linglong Mountain? My parents are in a mountain. I came here to look for them, but just as I was about to enter the mountain, I met a group of good disciples of your Lotus Star Sword sect. Using the mountain rules, forcefully collecting travel fees. If you don't pay, you can't enter the mountain. What? Does this Linglong Mountain belong to your Lotus Star Sword sect? Su Yun snorted. Hearing that, Qing Wenlu frowned. What do you mean by that? What do you mean? Just ask your people. Su Yun snorted. When Instructor Gu and the others heard this, they immediately broke out in a cold sweat and hurriedly said, What nonsense are you spouting? Nonsense? What? Could it be that using the mountain rules to collect 50,000 profound coins travel fees was something I made up? Su Yun bellowed and directly told them everything that had happened. He was not as shameless as these people, adding oil and vinegar and creating something out of nothing. Hearing that, Qing Wenlu's serious face started to become serious, and as Su Yun finished speaking, his face, which could be considered to be bearable to look at, became extremely gloomy. Instructor Gu, is what he said true? Protector Qing, do you believe his words, or do you believe ours? Instructor Gu hurriedly asked. This, Qing Wenlu was in a dilemma. If he really wanted to help, as the protector of the Lotus Star Sword sect, he would naturally have to protect the people in the sect, but he was not stupid. From the looks of it, this should be the first time Su Yun came to the Linglong Mountain. And he came alone. How could he insult the Lotus Star Sword sect for no reason? It was most likely because the people in the sect were arrogant and despotic, provoking others. However, neither side had any convincing evidence, so he didn't know who to believe. But at this moment, Qing Wenlu suddenly caught a glimpse of something from the corner of his eyes. He anxiously took a few steps forward, walked in front of Su Yun, lowered his head, and looked at Su Yun's hand, his face full of surprise. Master Su Yun, what is this? Qing Wenlu asked anxiously. Divine leaf. Su Yun raised his hand, and waved the golden leaf in front of Qing Wenlu and said indifferently, "It was bestowed by the realm lord. It's a pity that these people do not recognize the divine leaf. I can't do anything about it. If I can't go to the Linglong Mountain today, I can only return to the realm tree and tell the realm lord about this matter." Before I even entered the mountain, I encountered the obstruction of the Lotus Star Sword sect. I, Su Yun, can be considered unlucky. Hearing that, Qing Wenlu's face immediately turned pale white. He stared at the leaf in Su Yun's hand for a moment, then anxiously retreated a few steps, cupped his fists, and respectfully bowed 3 times towards Su Yun and anxiously shouted, "Master Su Yun, please do not be angry. The disciples of the sect are short-sighted and do not recognize this divine object. Please forgive me. Master Su Yun, please forgive me. This matter is all the fault of my Lotus Star Sword sect. Please forgive me. I will immediately bring you into the mountain. Immediately bring you into the mountain." Qing Wenlu's movements were devout, and his expression was one of fear, as if he had seen something incredible. Seeing his reaction, Su Yun was immediately confused. What was going on? The disciples of the Lotus Star Sword sect were even more confused. Why did Protector Qing look like he had seen his ancestor? Is there a need for this? Protector Qing, what's wrong? This guy is provoking our Lotus Star Sword sect. Why are you? Instructor Gu did not understand. However, Qing Wenlu snorted coldly and said angrily, "You reckless thing, you have harmed our Lotus Star Sword sect this time. This is a realm tree god's leaf. There are only 5 of them. They're treasures of the realm lord. They are incomparably mystical and normally would not be given to others. For this lord to possess this item, he must have a close relationship with the realm lord. And since he is someone close to the realm lord, how can we neglect him? If this lord were to vent his anger on the Lotus Star Sword sect today, you would all be the sinners of the Lotus Star Sword sect. Hurry up and kneel down. Kowtow to the Lord and admit your wrongs. Once he reports this to the realm lord, our souls will all be destroyed, and we will become the fertilizer for the realm tree." Huh? When Instructor Gu and the others heard this, they were so scared that their bodies trembled. Their brains were in a daze. "What are you still standing there for?" Qing Wenlu shouted. Everyone's bodies trembled, and with a thud, they all knelt down. "Sir, please forgive us. We failed to recognize you. Please don't be angry," Instructor Gu said with a trembling mouth. Although many people didn't know what was going on, they knew that they had offended a powerful being when they saw Wenlu's expression. Su Yun looked at the situation and only reacted after a while. It seemed that the realm lord had a lot of influence in the Wanhua realm, and the people of the Lotus Star Sword sect were actually so afraid of her. Not bad. With this leaf, it would be much easier to stay in the Linglong Mountain, Su Yun thought. Looking at the person in front of him, he rubbed his chin, rolled his eyes, and said in a deep voice, "You want me to forgive you? Is it that simple? You don't even recognize the divine leaves of the realm lord. Do you think that you can ignore the realm lord standing in front of you?" How would I dare? Qing Wenlu hurriedly said. Instructor Gu and the others all agreed, not even daring to raise their heads. "I don't think you dare," Su Yun said. "Originally, I had planned to immediately return to the realm tree to explain this matter to the realm lord, but since this Protector Qing is here for his sake, I will not go back for the time being." "Thank you, my lord," Qing Wenlu said happily. "However, it's impossible to resolve this matter just like that," Su Yun quickly added. Qing Wenlu's happy face immediately froze. After a while, he hurriedly asked, "Then, my lord, what do I need to do to resolve this matter?" "Very simple." Su Yun kept the divine leaf and said indifferently, "I want your Lotus Star Sword sect to immediately send out all of your disciples and find 2 people for me. These 2 people are in the Linglong Mountain." "But the Lord's parents?" "That's right. What about the name of your father and mother?" "Su Shantian, Shan Shueshua. You 2 go look for him immediately. If you have any news, inform me immediately. Understand?" Su Yun shouted. "I will immediately give the order," Qing Wenlu hurriedly said. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to to catch the most captivating stories.